Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another action-packed episode of the SuperShow podcast. I'm your host for this week, Jamie, and Chris, I'm going to start with you because I can't tell you how happy I am to see your smiling face, for you to have joined us, even though you're still fighting back to full fitness and full health with your croaky throat.
Yes, mate.
Can you give us a little, like a teaser, like give us a grumble or a growl?
Is that yeah?
That's my kind of ASMR. I'm going to whack off to that later.
Yeah, that's my my take on what's called like Mongolian throat singing.
I hear it's a popular sort of like subgenre within the ASMR kind of scene, so I feel like our subs have just gone up threefold.
But listen, guaranteed, this is the best it's going to sound this entire podcast. Because the more I speak, the more strain I'm going to fucking get. It's by the end of it, it's going to be fucking ridiculous.
Strain or no strain, I'm just glad you're here. 'Cause it just felt kind of fitting that in a week that we actually got our first tangible look at footage of an Avatar sequel, Kendrick Lamar is releasing music again, and Nintendo put on one of the worst indie showcases of all time, and there's still no Hollow Knight. We should add to this series of freak events by actually having a full house, and a full house wouldn't be full without Jonesy being here as well.
Oh,
can you give us your throat's fine, but I kind of want to hear you growl as well now.
Do you know what? I listened back to last week's podcast and I forgot, but I did have a bit of a frog in my throat, and it's gone now, but I was a little bit growly. I was a little bit...
You see what you did, Jonesy? You did that thing where there's like the hot girls always like surround themselves with like not so hot looking girls so that they look even hotter.
Right.
What you did is you surrounded yourself with me and my germ-addled throat that you didn't sound as bad.
Yes, that is what I did.
Although this does now give me some kind of reason to believe that our Mongolian throat singing project doesn't have to be a solo act now. I think we've got a bit of a group coming together here. Like, I think if you two harmonized a little bit and I provided, nice, clear, lush Western vocals over the top, that's what they're called, like in generic terms, Western
lush
vocals.
Western vocals. When you say that, for whatever,
that's what I bring to the table. Lush
for whatever reason.
vocals.
Listen, maybe because I've been watching Outer Range, but when you say that, I just think about that song where it's like, what's it called? Like, are you man enough for some shit? And there's the cowboy in the mountain range.
Oh, right, that thing. When you said "Are you man enough?" I was thinking of a completely different song. A song which,
yeah. I think
which,
I was thinking of the same one you were, Jamie. But we need to get Bono in here. He loves a bit of throat singing.
We need to get Bono in here for a whole host of reasons. Not just throat singing, but also I just want to discuss his music career.
Oh yeah, you too.
Yeah, big time. I want to know what he couldn't live with or without. That's the big mystery. People assume it's a woman. I think it's his fleshlight.
Oh,
because he couldn't be bothered to clean it. Bono, notoriously lazy.
Well, that's like the thing with a Meatloaf. We're never going to find out what he wouldn't do.
I thought it was anal.
No, you guys are missing. You're missing
anal.
it. It's the ultimate fulfillment of that thing you wouldn't do. Live.
Oh, is that why he died?
Yeah,
he wouldn't live for love.
I would do anything for love, but I won't live, so I've died.
Exactly. I mean,
there you go.
A man of his word, really. So. Fair play.
Exactly. You got
what kind of a podcast are we again? I think I see where we're starting to unravel. Yeah,
we're a music theory and music history podcast, which is why we're here to discuss the secret intentions of the legends of the music industry, such as Bono and Meatloaf. And I would encourage actively anyone listening or watching to this podcast to join in with our music theory discussions. You could do so on YouTube if you're watching us there. There's a little comment section down below. Chime in, get involved. Do you think Bono's blind, or do you think he wears those glasses as a fashion statement? Let us know. And you can also chat with us over on Twitter. The handle there is @SuperShowPod. Chris is usually manning the Twitter handle 24/7. So if you feel like there's a message you need to get to us urgently, that's the place to do it.
Can I give a very quick, let's do it. Let's front load this mother, okay? Because we have gotten people reaching out, loads of people, in fact, tweeting at us.
Hang on, what's the Super Show version of loads? I'm desperate to know. Is
3.
it 2?
Maybe 10, maybe more.
Wow. Do you know what? That's way more than I expected.
Tweets, not DMs. The only DM we got was from, let's see, on a second. Manuel Guerrero, which we know, we'll find out about that in just a little bit. And Peaswad. sending me a video of his nipple.
Hang on. See, first of all, that's fascinating. Why haven't you shared that with me and Jonesy already? Like, that should be that's shared Super Show material.
That's for my spank bank, buddy.
Also,
I'm pretty sure that if you watch him on Twitch, you can see them anyway. I'm pretty sure.
No, because he wears the coconut bra.
Ah, the coconut bra.
He used to. I don't know if he does it anymore. He stopped doing it.
Also, Chris, you're lying because I know for a fact the Super Show Twitter account got a DM on Thursday, the 5th of May.
No,
about
wrong.
12 a.m. UK time, Greenwich Mean Time.
You're wrong, buddy. It was caught by spam filters. So, no, nothing came through.
Okay. Classic Twitter spam filters, always keeping an eye out for the throat goats. You don't want to let them slip through the net.
Yeah, to be fair, Peaswad did accurately predict exactly what you had messaged Super Show.
Yes. No, fair play. That's exactly what I did. I DM'd Chris, aka the Super Show, and reminded him that he was the throat goat. And I want to let you all know that if you want to listen to the throat goat in his element, and maybe you're watching him right now, if so, hi, you can do so on major podcasting platforms. Spotify is one of them. iTunes is another. Google Podcasts is a third. There are 4th and 5th and 6th, but those are for you to discover, not for us to tell you. So go out, do some research, and listen to the audio version of this podcast because it's a fun way to experience the Super Show. Wouldn't you say?
Great way to experience the Super Show.
Josie, that was rhetorical. You're really fucking.
It's like mescaline. It's like mescaline. It's the only way to fly.
Mescaline? What is that? An airway?
Love it.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what mescaline is. It sounds like
the drug. Have you not seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? You take the mescaline and everyone becomes lizard people. You haven't seen it?
I have not. Do you know what's ironic? I have not watched a 2-hour-long Johnny Depp film, but I've probably watched about 27 hours of concurrent Johnny Depp court footage live.
I mean, haven't we all? It's been absolutely... Well, that's on break now, but it has been absolutely
It's coming back next week, right? Sorry.
I was going to say the latest I've seen about the trial is that I've only seen a title cut off, admittedly, on YouTube from the quartering. And I'm going to just take all of my knowledge from that. And it says that Amber Heard's about to go to jail. So,
wow.
For what you will.
I saw the quartering earlier on Twitter because he was having, I'm not going to call it a fight because it was too brief for that, but he was having a disagreement with the voice actor of none other than Solid Snake. I thought that was interesting.
Why? What is it?
Random.
To be fair, it was they were both. It was two wrongs making a dumb fucking situation. That's what it was. Because David Hayter.
Yep, that's the quartering. That's name. Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because the quartering jumps on stuff and he he pushes buttons and he tries to stoke flames. And the best thing that can happen to him and his content and his thumbnails and his titles is getting in a fight with a minor celebrity. It's like fucking It's
golden. Yeah,
exactly. It's gold. But David Hayter, for as much as he seems like a regular guy, he put out a pretty stupid tweet to begin with. I think he insinuated that he was going to sell his Tesla or something like that because of Elon Musk
buying Twitter.
Or something weird like that, or regretting buying a Tesla or something weird like that. And the quartering jumped on it, was like, oh, I see you've got a problem with free speech then. And then David Hayter was like, I think you misspelled, I forget what the word was. It's called like sedition or something like that, which is like speech that like potentially incites, violence or criminal behavior or uprising against a government or whatever. And so it was dumb. It was exactly what the quartering goes out there looking for, and exactly the kind of shit that a voice actor of Solid Snake shouldn't rise to.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then, to be fair, I'm not spoken about him for a long time, so maybe that's exactly what he's trying to do as well. He's trying to get his people to mention him.
Trying to get his time in the limelight again.
Maybe.
I don't think I was here when you guys were speaking about the fact that Elon Musk bought Twitter. Was that the week I was off?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it must have been last week. Yeah.
No, it was the week before or the week before that.
Was it the week before?
Yeah, because we had a full house last week. Last week was when we talked about Johnny and Amber, but I think the week before was when we talked about Elon. And I mean, Chris, are you leaving Twitter?
Oh, fuck. Like, Jesus Christ! Like, honestly, people need to just fucking get a grip sometimes, don't they? Like, oh, I'm gonna leave a fucking thing. If that's the way you feel, you would never eat like anything that's not grown in your own backyard ever again, because it's all like picked by monkeys that get fucking molested every 5 seconds, or like there's bad shit everywhere, and it always feeds back into products. Like What's the fucking difference? You can't boycott everything, fellas. Okay. And besides that, you know what? I think people are giving Elon Musk a hard time. Personally, I don't think he's like I don't worship at the altar of Elon Musk or anything, but like the guy's like the richest guy in the world. You need to be a particular kind of person. Let me just say that, to be in that kind of position. Of course, he's going to be saying and doing stupid shit, but like, fine. So get over it.
Yeah. I have no problem with him buying Twitter at all. I don't really see.
Just get over it.
It doesn't affect my relationship with Twitter or how much I think I'm going to use it. But I also just think that I think he says a lot of really dumb shit.
Who doesn't? We've built a podcast and saying dumb shit.
I think he stands for some really fucked up things. Like I think when he makes like glowingly positive comments about the work ethic in China and criticizes like
the 3 a.m. oil.
And says they don't burn the midnight oil, they burn the 3 a.m. oil. It's great. And meanwhile, like factories out there are installing nets so their employees can't kill themselves anymore, and they're locking their employees inside the factories.
Yeah, okay.
I think observations like that are short-sighted.
I think the problem with Elon Musk, and we probably should move on from this because we could talk about this forever.
Baby.
The problem that people have with Elon Musk is they misunderstand him. Okay, I'm not saying that he's saying anything right or wrong or whatever it might be, but he's a lizard person and he doesn't think like a real person. So that's just how it is. No, but really what I'm saying is like the guy has admitted himself that he's on the spectrum. So there is a difference in the way that he sees things to the way that, let's say, a general population would see things. Not necessarily that, like, yes, he may think it's fantastic, or he might just think that he's being edgy with an edgy bit of a joke that actually is not hitting and no one gets it. And he's just that awkward guy who's just like, right, guys? Yeah?
There's also the problem with people like that people do a very strange thing in that they, in one breath, they'll say they're not better than me, like the people at the top.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, they'll expect them to be 1,000,000 times better than them at all points. Like that does, just because he's the richest man in the world, that doesn't make him smarter than most of the people on
Jonesy,
Twitter.
What did I say? What did I say? Like maybe, what was it, 40 fucking episodes ago, when we were talking about like YouTubers and all the shitty fucking things that they do, and I said, who automatically thought that a YouTuber would have like the best moral compass of the community? Like,
yes,
so the guy's fucking rich and he runs companies, and now you expect him to care about human rights? Like, doesn't have to. He doesn't want to. He's a person. Do whatever the fuck he wants.
He probably has no idea about like the fact of.
He has no idea.
But then there's a funny thing.
Busy getting fucking hand jobs by Grimes and naming his children all fucking weird alphabets.
I bet he's had one hand job from Grimes ever, and that's it. And then I bet he didn't even get to go in there. I bet the way that the kid was some weird like turkey baster. Anyway, no, but there is a strange thing I think that people will be standing in their Nikes with all like their branded stuff from like sweatshops and stuff, eating like food that's been picked by peasants who are getting paid nothing, and they'll wax lyrical about other people, expecting them to be better than them online. And you think, why do you think they're going to be better than you? They're just as dumb as you are. Like,
I know, but I think there's a difference between expecting someone to be better than you and calling out the fact that they're not. Like, calling out the fact that they're not better than you'd hope them to be doesn't mean that you expect them to be better.
I think people do expect,
like that observation that observation that I just made about Elon Musk's view on like the Chinese workforce wasn't coming from my disappointment at the fact that he didn't reach my expectations for his view on labor. It's just an observation about a view that he has that I don't agree with.
There's a lot of people now that I think who think similarly of when anything Elon Musk does, they kind of seem to think that he should be the bastion of all that is like right and good. Like, why? He just made a buttload of money. The guy could be completely moronic when it comes to 1,000 other issues. Like, and he is. So I don't know why people seem surprised. Like, it's like Trump. Trump said dumb shit all the time, and people seem to like almost like, I can't believe he's saying dumb shit. It's like,
because he became the president of the United States of America. That's because it's meant to mean something.
Given it when other people, like dumb people, vote people in. You're always going to get
that's
dumb
the part of
people,
it that's out of control.
Now we're getting into politics, baby.
Well, the one thing I will say is, and there's one unequivocally dumb thing that Elon Musk has done.
Can I just point out? I don't mean dumb. It was only dumb people voting Trump. Dumb people do vote for everything. Let me just point that out. Everything that happens is because everyone is dumb. Most of the world are dumb. I'm saying like 95% of the world are dumb.
I don't know why I'm brought up this Elon Musk thing. This is going to be the last episode we ever create.
I was going to say one unequivocally dumb thing that Elon Musk has done, and I think we could all agree that, like, no matter how you look at it, it was a bad decision.
Or grind.
Is that no, it's investing in Twitter when the real hot ticket in tech right now is Paisley Radio. And if you head to paisleyradio.com on Thursdays at 10 p.m, you don't have to buy Paisley Radio, and if you did, it wouldn't cost like $40+ billion, so don't worry about that.
No, because it's priceless, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's priceless. Like those MasterCard adverts, they were actually all about Paisley Radio. PaisleyRadio.com. This podcast you listen to right now, broadcast out Thursdays at 10 p.m. It's repeated on Monday, so if you ever felt like getting the semi-authentic online digital radio experience of this podcast, that link one more time, PaisleyRadio.com. I said again, the next hot ticket in tech. Elon, if you're listening, there's your next investment.
Hell yeah. Your next platform.
Exactly. And what a platform it is. Like, he could get the slot right after us. It's like, you know, when you want your show has to be after Home Improvement, so some of the audience doesn't change channel and you get theirs. Elon could put his big tech show after ours. He'd get all the super, you know, it's perfect. It's, you know, it's seamless.
Wow. Yeah, can I put it, hold on, before you start, can I put a request in that the next time it's all three of us recording a podcast, that we just talk about games? We'll set ourselves that kind of task.
No one wants to hear it, trust me.
The games.
Well, plus, I think we're doing some dangerous straddling here. I think we need to go either one way or the other.
I'd love to. We should do an Elon Musk cast. Musk. I would love to. No, because he, like you said about his tech, he makes so much dumb shit like that. I like the fact how stupid his tech often is that he talks about he's going to do. Like the Hyperloop, flying people around the world in rockets. We could talk about that shit for hours. So stupid. It's great.
I think if we could keep it funny and funky and fresh, then maybe. But I worry that 5-minute conversation we had just then illustrates we might struggle with that just a little bit. Like, it didn't take long till Donald Trump came up. So that's the way I kind of like figure out whether or not it's a good topic for the podcast. I've got a time to Trump meter, and if Trump, because you know one thing that Trump has absolutely nothing to do with, the development and ultimately the release of the hot new video games out of Bethesda.
Oh,
how do you know? He might have invested. Trump games.
Trump games.
I would love that. You've had Trump Towers, you've had Trump Steaks. Now it's time for Trump Games. And this is the point where I would insert a joke about the quality and the development of the game based on his time as president, but I feel like we've already maybe flown a little bit too close to the sun this episode.
Let's get on topic, on brand. Bethesda, go.
Bethesda. So for those of you who have been living under a rock and have not been sure what Bethesda have coming up, they actually had two of the hottest tickets in the Xbox family that were due to come out this year in the form of Redfall, the kind of brand new co-op first-person shooter game that we didn't know that much about other than the fact that it was being developed by Arcane Austin, and Starfield, the brand new premier big boy RPG from Bethesda Game Studios. They were both, at one point in time, going to come out this year. Now, gang, I regret to let you know that neither of them are coming out this year, as Bethesda have tweeted out a statement, one of those classic, hey, we're going to tweet out an image of, you know, a certain coloured writing on a certain coloured background, not yellow because Cyberpunk ruined that for everyone, and let you all know about the video games you're looking forward to not coming out this year. In fact, they are both now coming out in the first half of 2023, and the reason for that delay is they want to make sure they have incredible ambitions for their game, and they want to ensure that you receive the best, most polished versions of them. Chris, when we talked about this earlier, you hinted that you thought there was maybe something of an inevitability to these delays. Is that a fair characterization?
In a way. Okay. I think Starfield is complicated, from my understanding, because like you look at how much marketing, like their marketing machine has kind of started to kick into gear, and you know they had the trailer, they splashed about their release date, which they didn't need to. This is the thing that I never really understand. Like, you don't need to. This is the company that went from announcing Fallout 4 to releasing Fallout 4 in 3 months. Like,
right.
You don't need to.
Okay? They could have done the similar thing with Starfield when it was announced, when it was bloody ready.
They could still show, like you could still show off your trailer, etc., and not have a release date on it. You could still show gameplay and not have a release date on it. That's all.
Especially with a game like Starfield that's been kicking around for so long.
But yeah, so this is where the air of inevitability for me comes in terms of Starfield, is that the game is it's effectively one of those games that Bethesda and Todd Howard have been wanting to do for the longest time. Technology was never there. Eventually, the technology appears or catches up, and they can fulfill their idea, realize what they want to do. You think about, like, the joke is Skyrim in space, right? But if you think about like how large and complex even Skyrim is, even by today's standards, you think to yourself, okay, now let's have that in space and planets and X, Y, Z, and let's actually try not to make it pants. Let's make it good. Yeah, like, fuck, it's going to take time. So it's complicated because they didn't need to go with their marketing machine as they have. Even with these like little vignettes where they're like, oh, today we're going to talk about the music of Starfield. And today is going to talk about the companion of Starfield. Like, you don't do that unless like you're ready to release. Although then again, fucking Cyberpunk did, so who the fuck knows? But yeah, I think smart probably to delay it if something that's like so hotly anticipated. Like, it's not like some little cash grab, like let's say Fallout 76 was, where it's like, hey, same engine, a few improvements, smaller team working on it, and then we'll release it and we'll just kind of see how it fucking goes and whatever. Like, no, this is the marquee thing from Bethesda. Delaying it, yeah, fucking delay it. Make sure it's as good as you want it to be. Because people still give Bethesda a lot of shit, but fucking people are still playing Skyrim. Skyrim is still a great game. Fight me if you want to. Like, come on, like, give them the benefit of the doubt. Let them do it. Redfall, okay, we saw one fucking trailer. Like, yeah, delay that shit. Who cares?
Could I go back to Starfield? Don't you think as well that there's something to be said for like game publishers being a bit burnt by the whole Cyberpunk thing?
Totally.
As in they're now like, shit, we can't.
But yeah, even more of a reason to say don't put a fucking release date on it. On something.
Yeah, agreed.
Sure.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, like, you're right. Like, with hindsight now, the whole kind of like fetishization of that 11/11/22 thing, that they came out so early, like 18 months in advance, and were like, this is the date.
Yeah,
just seems crazy now with hindsight.
Why? It like no. Let me put it this way: the only way you would want to do something like that, I would imagine, is to appease investors, right?
Right.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that as you said, it was like, you've got to think that investors are pushing them to put a date on it because they want an end.
Yeah, except they don't necessarily need to answer to investors anymore because they're Xbox.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's what doesn't make sense to me.
But then there's still people with money behind the scenes telling them to like.
Yeah, but the difference is that those people behind the scenes are, you would imagine, games people, Xbox people, Phil Spencer, who, if you say to Phil Spencer, maybe we shouldn't put a release date on it until we lock it in, he'll be like, yep, yeah, that's true. Do that. Don't put a release. But it happened. I don't understand. No game, unless it's like being pushed by investors, I can understand, but no game should really give like a release window. Yeah, or rather, okay, let me rescind that a bit, because give a release window, but don't give a date until it's like...
Keep going. I've got to plug my headphones in. They've started beeping. So.
All right, fine. Do you agree with me, Jeremy? Like, give a release window. Say it's releasing in 2022. And then if it's releasing in December, let us fucking know in August.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I completely agree. And like, there's evidence, as you mentioned, from within this own studio and within this own publisher, like, that there's no downside whatsoever to like slightly minimizing the time between the release date, being locked in, and the release date itself.
Yeah,
it doesn't have a negative impact on sales. And that's the thing about a piece of news like this, is that without kind of like wheeling out like, Miyamoto memes or anything like that. Like, when a piece of news like this comes out, it's not a conversation about whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing, or whether or not they should or shouldn't have done it. Because I think the whole world now unanimously agrees, just, delay games as long as they need to be delayed. Don't release games until they're ready to be released. Yeah, it's better for everyone in the long run. We've seen that time and time again. But the conversations here now, are, like you said, Chris, they're about the strategy behind Starfield to begin with, which, now is 4 years on from reveal and a year on from release date that they've now missed out on. And the other thing that I think we tap into a little bit here is, what does it leave Xbox with in this calendar year, where, there weren't that many kind of big marquee events in the calendar to look out for Xbox owners. And I know, they're going to fall back on Game Pass, and they're going to say they're going to have a constant stream of titles, and there are going to be smaller things throughout the year. But like, Starfield was a big deal. Starfield was one of, if not the biggest game yet to come out this year when you looked towards the calendar on any platform.
You know what's weird? When was the last big game that was meant to come out in December that was the big deal for Xbox?
Halo Infinite.
Halo.
Yeah, which got delayed by an entire
for a year.
Yeah.
It's also got to be, surely there's an element these days which makes it more complicated, I guess, which is the desire to set a release date for the fans. They want to do a long, protracted PR campaign to like build the hype, and then obviously you're going to have like pre-orders and all that sort of stuff. So you want to make sure people know when games are coming out. But you've also got the added wrinkle these days of the negative reaction to crunch. And so you've got this weird thing whereby I imagine companies are trying to make games. They want to get them finished by specific dates. Dates, like goals, are good to have because it makes you, it makes you finish. Otherwise, you'll just keep going forever, right? Like Star Citizen, right? You just keep going forever if you don't have a specific goal. But then the problem is as well, crunch is so negatively perceived, and like making people work overtime and trying to get people to fill roles in the games industry when loads of people are like getting poached by the companies and things. So that all these things come together, and it must be a weird sort of soup of things that mess with that whole environment.
A few things on that, Jonesy. I believe it was Daniel Dwyer from NoClip tweeted out saying, speaking of Bethesda as a game studio, saying they really respect their people, and he has not heard of any significant crunch ever happening at the company to begin with.
But that's kind of what I mean. Like, that's why maybe it makes it harder, because you don't want to force that.
Yeah, sure.
You
but
don't want to
give a fucking release date a year in advance. Okay, but take something else that happened, which I always go back to for whatever reason. It was really good. The Raising Kratos documentary that PlayStation put out for God of War 2018. So there, it's always good to have a deadline for sure. What they did is they had these internal deadlines. All companies have internal deadlines. And there was this one scene where they got the whole company together. They're like, this game is coming out at this date, and they all cheered. And then a couple of scenes later, it was like, this is when we were going to take it, but we looked at the scope. We need to change it. So it's now this date. And then everyone was like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, let's go for it. Try and stay enthusiastic, etc. What did the public know about any of that? Nothing.
Right. So it does come down to when you make it public. Yeah.
Yeah. But there is a downside to what I'm saying, in that you don't want to be radio silent. You don't want to be the Team Cherry way of doing things and not have any Silk Song information coming out. You do want some stuff to come out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like you're going to have, whether at a smaller level, or within Bethesda or on the Xbox side as well. Like, you're going to have entire teams, tens of people, if not hundreds of people, who work in marketing or PR or comms, that are going to be sitting around and being like, "What do you mean you're not going to announce that game exists until like 2 months before it comes out? Like, we've got a whole Twitter plan for a year in advance. Like, we've got a tweet scheduled from this time next week."
Well, here's a solution for you. And again, there are exceptions, because you look at fucking Cyberpunk. But how about this? How about announce the game? Fine.
Yep.
Give a release window? Fine. Wait until the game goes gold. Start your marketing.
Well, then you can't really announce a release window, right? you can't do that. You'd have to announce the game is being made and then just say...
No, you announce it, Judgy. You announce the game's being made. The next time it comes up the following year at E3, whatever, you announce the year that it's planning to be released. That can still be pushed.
You couldn't do...
Well, then, that's what happens now.
But that's what I'm saying. But you've just said to do what they did, which was to give a year, and then they've blown past that year it was going to be released.
No, because they gave a specific release day.
But they've missed the year. They've literally gone to another year now. So why not just say, hold on, because don't say anything?
Because
I guess what Jonesy's saying is like your idea, Chris, could still backfire on you if you missed your year.
So why not just wait? Why not just wait until
I think it's more perfectly acceptable to say it was going to come out in 2022, and close to mid 2022, you say actually it's going to release in 2023, like the first half of 2023 as a delay.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
It's not the same thing, Jonesy.
But but then
it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing as saying you are going to have it and you're going to play it on this day at this time and then delay it by half a year.
But when it was originally coming out this year, it didn't matter which day it specifically was because you knew it was going to be within this year. And now you've delayed it into next year and it's
okay, now you're getting into the semantics of it. They still gave it a day and date. Okay.
What? No,
they gave it a day and date. They gave it a day and date, whether it was in December or whether it was in June.
They did it with Redfall.
Yeah, but
they did it with Redfall.
No one gives a shit about Redfall.
No one gives a shit.
That is also true.
To be fair, I did like the way they bundled the two announcements together in one thing. Like everyone's going, "Why are you telling us about Redfall?"
Look at Breath of the Wild 2. Look at Breath of the Wild 2. Slated to come out this year. Okay, and then Agent Naoma came out and said it was like his little bow and all that shit. And like, oh, sorry, it's coming out next year at some point. We're not gonna fucking tell you when because. Guess what? That's fucking game dev is really hard.
Yeah, but to what Jonesy was saying, that was still a delay, and it did still require a video message, and it was still delivered in the form of an apology. So, like, just because there wasn't a specific date in our calendar that we had to cross out that said Breath of the Wild 2 release date, doesn't mean there weren't still people who had to readjust their expectations.
I almost think it's worse to say if you say a game's coming out in 2022. And then in 2022, you say, yeah, we were wrong. Sorry, it's coming out in 2023. That in some ways to me seems worse than a company who say, our game is coming out on October 31st, 2022. We've pushed it to February 11th, 2023. That to me is like, so one pushes like a few months and it makes sense,
look,
delay. You've just but it's going from 2022 to 2023 says to me that you've still got no goddamn idea. You're just kicking the can down the road, and in 2023,
but you're saying that because of all the expectations that's been set. What I'm saying is we need a complete fucking paradigm shift when no one fucking talks about release dates before, like unrealistically.
But I agree with that. But why say anything? Why not just wait until the game goes gold and then say, guys, the game's finished, it's coming out in 3 months?
Well, you do want to build up hype, I guess, and that's why I can understand the caveat of it because, as Jamie said, you'll have entire marketing departments fucking twiddling their thumbs for 3 years while you're developing a game. Like, okay, I get it. Try and give some leeway to it. But
I would love to know how much money Cyberpunk, sort of CD Projekt Red, made off the advertising of Cyberpunk coming out,
of course,
like YouTube and all that. So I would love to know how much.
Of course, their marketing made that the success. But can I just say one thing? So, Jonesy, your example that you gave of saying, here is a game that's coming out at the end of the year. Here's a specific date, and actually we're moving it 2-3 months with a specific date. That's fine. And in fact, that's what happened to Elden Ring. And guess what? Because there was a finite kind of thing of saying we need. What was it, like a month and a half or whatever? People were like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. But by saying like...
that is crunch time. That is unpaid overtime. I'm not saying that, but that is when crunch happens, is because they say a date, you can't physically finish the game in that time, and then you have to get people to work overtime or to crunch in order to get it made. So what really happens is you take something that needs 3 years and you put a date on it a year away, and you then compress 3 years work into 1 year. And you make people pull out all the stops to get that finished in that time.
But this is why I'm saying. This is why I'm saying. Fucking press that gold. Get that fucking gold disc and do that fucking cheesy fucking picture that everyone does. That's a product that you can send to people and you can say, there you go, buddies. 3 months time, it's yours. And we're going to have 3 months time to do the fucking marketing.
I like the idea, but I think realistically, and I'm not going to be cynical enough to suggest that delays are ever intentional or factored into the planned marketing of a game, but there is, with each passing year, a rapidly growing, insurmountable amount of evidence to suggest that delaying a game does absolutely nothing to hurt sales, and some of the best-selling games of recent memory have been significantly delayed. And Chris, like you mentioned, Elden Ring obviously announced this week, I believe, that they hit 13.4 million sales. I'd imagine that Elden Ring is something that is on a spreadsheet somewhere within either Bethesda or Microsoft or Xbox that someone put into a PowerPoint to say, hey, turns out releasing games in Q1 or Q2 isn't as bad a thing as it was 10 years ago. And in fact, it could be significant if done right.
Bandai Namco reported 50% profit increase for this financial year.
I mean, mental. I will say, though, that for all the discussions that we're having about not talking about games or giving release dates or giving release windows until things are gold and everything is in a good place, we do still expect to see both of these games at the Xbox and Bethesda showcase on June 12th. The quote that comes alongside this delay is, we can't wait to share our first deep dive into the gameplay for both Redfall and Starfield soon. And I will say, even though that both these titles are potentially as much as 6 months further down the road than we had thought maybe this time last week, I'm especially looking forward to seeing, well, if it is indeed a gameplay deep dive, whatever they show for Starfield. Yeah, that's going to be fascinating.
Remember when they first announced the release date? And we laughed because the first thing we said was, well, that's being pushed.
Yeah.
Because we said, why are you now, at that point in time, why are you saying that you're going to release a game at the end of December? And we said, because you're just buying yourself fucking time.
It's crazy.
Or also, actually, maybe that as well as a play on the idea of pushing it. You could push it into the next year, and you can say, we only pushed it a month by pushing it into the next year, where in reality it's like they push it till December the next year, but they can technically say, well, it was so close to the next year anyway that it wasn't too bad.
That's like Jonesy's conspiracy theories about God of War, how it
is going to get delayed.
It's not made.
Like Christmas.
They've only got a vertical slice. Well,
that is getting delayed. That is getting delayed.
To Jonesy's credit, they keep on saying that it isn't, like reiterating quite strongly, no, it's not delayed. But in Jonesy's defense, my prediction is obviously come and gone, where I said it was relatively ready and it would come out in the first half of the year.
Yeah,
we're pretty much almost at June. So
yeah, the other thing that worries me is that I've got a feeling, not based on anything in particular, it's just kind of a hunch at this stage, that I don't think Sony are going to have a big first-party blowout kind of live stream. They might have a small state of play, for example, but I don't think they're going to do one of their big showcasey things until after summer's passed.
Well, they don't need to.
Maybe
they don't
September
need to compete
again.
anymore, right? With slots.
Right.
So
yeah, we'll see. How about a little comment of the week, gang?
Oh, I love
Let's do it.
Straight in, raw dogging. Let's go.
Nice. Everyone get your Star Wars hats on, I guess, or your Darth Vader helmets, or whatever it is. Because this one, coming in from Adam Nichols, says, Jonesy, I'm not saying Padme wasn't a Sith, but if she was a really shitty Sith. She literally just got force choked, pushed out a pair of twins, and died. Weakest Sith ever.
Thoughts, Jonesy?
I mean, you are now a resident Star Wars expert.
There is more to that comment, though, Jamie.
Oh, shit. Sorry, I there was a page break in our document. I apologise to everyone listening at home. I'll continue. That explains Jonesy's silence. It's much more likely that she was just a shitty person. But to be fair, Tusken Raiders are shitty people themselves, and they had tortured and killed Anakin's mother, so maybe they just got what they deserved. Although Annie did kill the children, so maybe he went a little overboard. I gotta say, gang, I don't know that much about Star Wars, but the idea of someone killing children being described as a little overboard sounds fascinating, and I might actually watch. What is that going to be? Episode 3?
Episode 3, yeah.
2.
Yeah, just in time for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's 2, isn't it?
I don't know.
No, when he kills the kids, the Tusken Raider kids is 2.
Oh no, but I think in this particular was when he.
This is when he kills the young Jedi.
Order 66. He kills the young.
The younglings.
The young Padawans or younglings or whatever.
So, Jonesy, your tinfoil hat conspiracy getting shot down in a blaze of glory here.
No, but he is assuming that that being a good Sith means that you're like strong, powerful, and you can like use crazy powers. What if her whole point as a Sith was to turn him to the dark side and then die? Maybe what was if that was her? That was what
like
she was
a kamikaze
supposed to do.
Sith.
Yes. So she was there to just like, so because she does more stuff than just, I think that I said about she like falls in love with him after he kills all the Tusken Raider people. Because she also says, she's the one who takes him to, like he says, I'm supposed to stay here. I'm supposed to do what the Jedi Council say. And then she says, well, you're supposed to protect me and I'm going over there to save Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so she goes, and you're my protector, so you have to come with me. So she is tricksy. She's a tricksy.
Chris, like a minute, 2 minutes ago, I mentioned that I might watch episode 2 or episode 3 or whatever one I have to watch for the kid killing stuff. I'm not gonna.
Not worth it anymore.
No, I think Jonesy just put me off Star Wars for life now.
Well, good job.
I've nearly rewatched all of them now. I'm up to the second of the new ones. What's that? I can't remember what it's called. The Force Awakens?
No, that was Force Awakens. Force Awakens is the first
Last
one.
Jedi.
The Last Jedi.
So wait, so you've only got you're finishing that movie. You got one more left.
Yes.
Wow.
Hold on. Did you do Rogue One?
So I decided in the end, because I tweeted out this and I said to people, "What should I do?"
Yeah.
I decided that I shouldn't watch any of the other stuff because it's episodic, right? It's episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and I was like, so I'm not going to include anything else because that's a series. 1 to 9 is literally episode 1 to 9. It'll be like watching Game of Thrones and then watching something that came out after Game of Thrones that's supposed to slot in the middle. I was like, no, let me watch it as it's intended and I'll go back and watch the other ones. But I'll talk about when we talk about like what we've been playing, because the way the games of the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga change when you get to the original trilogy was surprising for me. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in risky territory here of Alex Jones's Skywalker Saga minute impeding on Chris's famous Elden Ring minute and Sekiro minute and Dota 2 minute as the most anticipated segments in podcast history.
That's why literally tens of people tune in each week.
Yeah. And tens more stop. The other reason they might be stopping though, Jonesy, is because I've got a feeling, if our good friend Manuel Guerrero is to be believed, that some of George Lucas's own political views might be seeping into your own. He pointed out that actually,
watch too much Star Wars.
Yeah, if you pinpoint a certain point in last week's podcast, it's 1 hour, 1 minute, and 14 seconds in for anyone who wants to fact check themselves. You let out a little racial slur.
I think you got to apologize to the masses.
This is you showing your true colours. So Chris and I decided we wanted to bring this up to give you a platform to apologise. Tell the people what you said, first of all, and why you're sorry.
The thing is, first of all, before we get to what Jonesy has to defend himself with the indefensible, it's very important to confront bigotry and and slander and explain yourself, Alex Jones. A racial slur on the SuperShow, on the SS. How dare you, sir?
I reject the characterization. I called Tusken Raiders sand people because Obi-Wan Kenobi calls them sand people. He's
done it again.
In
he
A New
literally
Hope.
did it again after doing it again.
Right, who's editing this? Because we need to bleep that.
Jeez.
He says, I can't remember the line, but yeah, he says something to Luke about, and that's what I've always known them as, and I didn't realize. Did I know they were the same people? I think I did know the Tusken Raiders were the same people. This is the question I have, because obviously George Lucas, subsequent to a lot of stuff he did with the early ones, like the original trilogy and the second trilogy, so episodes 1, 2, 3, people have said that he used like racial stereotypes in order to influence some of the characters that he made. I think we were saying like Watto.
Hey, Jonesy, hang on, you're playing dumb here, because before we started the podcast, you said that Watto is playable in the Skywalker Saga, and you won't let yourself or either of your sons play as him. He's banned in your house, you said.
Definitely didn't. Actually, is he playable?
I don't know.
I actually don't know now.
It's got to be playable, surely.
He'll be DLC or some shit, probably.
You say that, I don't think he will. I'm gonna look it up while we're talking. But no, and then I went back, and because I read this comment, it was like, are they not called sand people then? Have I added that in myself? But no, they are. But I guess it's maybe it's a crossover from the idea that he made Tusken Raiders an analogous to like people from a certain country or whatever on. And then I guess that's the idea why people don't.
And then Watto being Watto, and then the Trade Federation being all, is that cool? You know,
yes.
There is definitely some.
I want to.
Yeah.
But you see, yes, it is problematic. I'm not going to defend it.
Although there's a weird thing because in some sense you have to read into it. You have to put you have to like put the stereotype on it in order to.
So actually,
in order to think
it's George Lucas pointing the lens at us and saying, yeah.
It's like a racism coloring book. Like you have to take the colored pencils,
fill in the colors. Yeah.
You've got to make it racist.
It's like if
I had this argument a while ago with, I don't even remember who I was having this argument with, but I was saying that in effect, there's nothing potentially wrong with stereotyping, because stereotyping is just a form of semiotics which lets you identify traits.
Oh, you need it. You need stereotypes in stories, otherwise you don't understand the story. And you don't have time to tell the person's backstory. So for example, like when you have the protective father and you have like that, that stereotype, or you have the,
damsel
whatever you
in
want to
distress. And it's Sarkeesian's calling.
Like there was people always.
She wants her trope back.
People always get annoyed about what is it, the woman who gets killed, like the love interest who gets killed.
Is it the something in the fridge, or is that something else?
Oh no, yeah, you're right. I can't remember. Yes, it's the something in the fridge, and it's basically the idea that you kill off the female character in order to have a reason for the male character to do something. But the reason you need that's a good stereotype is because not every bloke, most like straight guys on the planet have that sense of, if someone killed my girlfriend, my wife, or whatever, that would be the impetus for me to become, it's exact revenge. It's relatable. So it's a similar thing of if like you have a story about someone kidnapping a kid. That's a really easy stereotype. I can't tell you
how close I was 1 year going all John Wick was I saw someone kick a dog.
So the dog thing, like if you ever hurt a dog in a film, it becomes, you can then do whatever you want to that person, or a cat, because you're like, they're an animal hurter. It doesn't matter about them as a full-fledged character. They hurt an animal, therefore you can do whatever you want to them. And like the John Wick thing, right? It's as soon as you kill an animal, everything is allowed. So yeah, you need stereotypes, you need them. But I do think when you watch, so I've rewatched the Star Wars films, I'm going to say there's some problematic shit in there for sure. I see why people say it. It's a bit too like, oh, okay. I get that.
Speaking of problematic, I can confirm that Watto is in fact not a playable character in Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, which in itself is not crazy. But
not my Lego Star Wars then. So.
Well, no, because I'm reading this list, and you two have to tell me. Chris is someone who's more knowledgeable on Star Wars to begin with, and Jonesy is someone who's watched them recently. Considering Watto hasn't made the cut, can you honestly tell me you know who some of these people are? Can I read some names for you?
Yeah.
Wedge Antilles.
Yes,
I do know Wedges.
Okay.
He's a starfighter in the Republic.
Cy Snootles.
Oh, I don't know who Cy Snootles is.
Is Cy's the shape-shifting assassin?
I don't know. Salacious B. Crumb.
Yes, I know Salacious.
No idea.
Rothgar Deng.
I know Rothgar Deng now.
Rats Tyrell.
Sounds like someone from Game of Thrones. No?
This just sounds. Almost don't want to say this out loud. Plo Koon.
Yeah, I know Plo Koon.
Newt Gunray. What the fuck? Newt Gunray.
But this isn't weird in those games though, is they're playable because you can basically play nearly anyone you come into contact with. So when it gets to the open play,
but you obviously come into contact with Watto.
Yeah,
obviously.
What does Newt Gunray have that Watto doesn't?
That is a damn good point.
Newt Gunray is the Viceroy of the Trade Federation.
So you only meet Watto in a cutscene, I believe. No, maybe you do meet him in the
Justice for Watto.
Well. So yeah, that's
like the Holocaust all over again.
Why would you not put Watto?
See, like, what is? Why does it feel weird to say there's a playable character called Gonk Droid?
Yes.
Like, what are some of the? I just don't feel comportable saying some of these things.
Okay. I have a question because Chris knows more about Star Wars than I do.
So Prin, it's they just pick noises.
But that's what names are, to be fair. They're just noises. The destroyers, the droids, the destroyers.
Yes.
Okay, in episode 1, the Trade Federation people call them droidicas.
Droidicas.
The droidicas. But then I was
like, Watto, sorry.
But then I was like, is it just a slightly racist way of someone with an accent saying droidy car? Like they don't know what they are, so they say droidy cars. Because then I didn't hear anyone else saying droidicas through the whole thing. They just kept calling them destroyers. And then I thought they were called droidy cars. I thought that's what people called them.
Droidy cars. Jeez.
I was like, why do they call it? Because it sounds like they go droidy cars, but in an accent. And I was like, afterwards, I was saying like, oh, is that just like they've said it because it's almost like someone who couldn't speak English properly, so they just made up a slightly similar
you know what
word.
I like? I love Star Wars, and I love kind of critiquing Star Wars, and there's episodes that I love, and there's episodes that I don't love. But it always fascinates me, and I'm guilty of this too. But how deeply analytical people get on a fucking fantasy film set in a galaxy far, far away. Like
right.
Anything's on the table at that point, right? Like, you know, racist Jewish stereotypes on a desert planet. Yeah, cool. Star Wars.
Oh yeah, Droidica. Is it Droidica? No, it's Droid EKA.
Droidica, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Droidica.
So I just looked up what you're saying. So that's, yeah, so they are destroyed.
With the Trade Federation being notoriously Asian-fired.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to make a little request here. Let's never pick a Star Wars rated comment of the week ever again.
Yeah, let's not.
That's
we can go. I will. The last stereotype I will say.
You're not, because you're going to talk about the fucking Skywalker saga again in 3 minutes' time.
I'll be really quick because it's relevant to us. Because who are the most evil racial stereotype in the entire empire in Star Wars? It is, of course, the Brits. All of the evil empire people are like very English.
Grand Moff Tarkin and all that stuff.
They're all like the guy from the Peter Rabbit is like
the main
General
bad guy is
Hux.
not British. Darth Vader.
Well, the actor.
Oh no, Vader's
like the most iconic villain in the entire franchise.
I was thinking
is not
the
British.
Empire. The Emperor is. The Emperor is.
Yeah,
the Emperor is.
Because Darth Vader's not the ultimate like bad guy.
Scottish,
He's the
Darth Vader. Okay, I'm not going to get into the semantics of whether or not Darth Vader
Sidious is English.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I think he's Scottish, anyway.
Both Adam Nichols and Manuel Guerrero there for those comments. And if you recognise that name, Manuel Guerrero, that's because Manuel is actually one of our very kind, supportive patrons over at patreon.com/SuperShow. And if you head to that link, then you can pledge to support us every single month. And for as little as $2, you can get a variety of different perks. We've got things like access to a quote-unquote exclusive Discord server. We've got Patreon-exclusive content, like Patreon-exclusive podcasts. We got new videos. We got spoiler casts. We got unreleased videos from the ATG days. Just about everything you'd want to see if you don't get bored listening to us week on week can be found at patreon.com/SuperShow. And as a gesture, as a token of our appreciation for the generosity you guys show us, we've got some names on screen now, so thank you to all of them. And we also want to give personal shout-outs this week to Aaron Cameron, Athletic Gravy, Bill Caesar, Brimstone, Cole K, Helium Joker, Ice Not Rock Salt, Jesper Camdal Nielsen, Leo Merger, Mindful Pig, Mr. Anthropic, Nathan Pears, Neil Dugel's Dream of Prosthetic Mustaches Daniel, Pastors Guild, Scary Omen, Starfall Kid, The Ballless Beauty, The Gorgeous Gelding, The Yummy Eunuch, The One and Only Mark Clancy, and finally, we have the big dogs, Bretzy, aka Shellshock, Doppler, Geometric Potter, Hacksaw Bookread, Manuel Guerrero, Peaswad, and here we go, brace yourself, because, this is a test and I'm going to fail it. I don't even know what to do. No, not Mug. I'll rescind that. Strike that from the record, please, Your Honour. Magne, may your cock never burn, Mikkelsen. For anyone that wondering them, I was about to say his name again, but I don't know. The whole point is I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Let's call him the artist formerly known as the Uncaged. Thank you very much for reissuing that challenge, and apologies for failing it. And best of luck to you.
We've got to go 3 for 3, right? So it's only fair.
Yeah, exactly. Right, lads. Have either of you two been playing any video games in the last week? Jonesy, something tells me you've got something sci-fi related that you might need to get off your fucking chest.
I'll try and keep it brief. for Jamie's sake.
Oh, no, not on my behalf. Please don't.
But before you do, can I just get comfortable? Because we're going to be here for a while. So
I want this to be dripping with detail.
No, you won't. For just in case anyone cares or forgot, I'm playing Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, but I'm also watching the movies at the same time because this is my brilliant idea, is to watch the movies and play the games. So since the last podcast, I've now played and finished the middle trilogy, so 4 through to 6. And so yeah, I feel like I'm going to be fair to Skywalker Saga. When I've played the initial 1, 2, 3, I did not like them. I thought they were just sort of go here, talk to this person, go somewhere else. It was a bad gaming experience. I did not enjoy it. The set pieces, some of them were okay, but they were too few and far between. And there was a lot of just like going from place to place to place, going to waypoints and basically having nothing to do, which I've already said in the podcast the last couple of weeks. It has completely changed for me since I've played the initial, like the middle 3 episodes. Because from episode 4 to episode 6, and Jamie actually pointed this out in a WhatsApp in the week when I sort of mentioned this, the games become so much better, or the levels I should call them, within the game become so much better. And the only thing I can put it down to is because the films were so much better and the source material from what they were working at and what they were dealing with for the adaptation was so much better, because actually having watched like episodes 4, 5 and 6 whilst I was playing the game, those films happen in a much more contained environment. Like they have only a couple of environments. The set pieces kind of don't just revolve around lightsaber battles. They can sort of have different things going on. But the games become much more Lego-y, as in, Lego game feel. Like there's more to do, as in like breaking blocks and then rebuilding things and doing little puzzles and things. And yeah, I got so much more into it, and I actually had a really good time.
It's Papa John's Law.
What's
fresh ingredients.
Papa John's Law. Better ingredients, better pizza.
Yes, exactly. So there was the game in the middle has seemed shorter. So it did seem that I got through that bit quicker, but I don't think it was that it was quicker. I think that because you were doing less going from place to place to place and just talking to a person before you went somewhere else, and you were doing stuff, I think the set pieces, because they were more engaging, made it feel quicker. So for example, you have to leave Tatooine in episode 4, and there's a whole battle where you're fighting off stormtroopers and you've got to help Chewbacca repair the Millennium Falcon before you can take off. And it actually takes up quite a large chunk of that level, right? Because episode 4 is kind of a self-contained level. But that's actually quite a decent chunk of the film itself anyway, whereas... So it felt wicked, and it was really fun, and I really enjoyed it, and you get to relive some of the really good experiences from the middle trilogy. So yeah, I've had a much better time, but probably just because they're better films, and so they were better to adapt.
Would you have started it then with that chronology?
This is the question, because you can choose to start.
Then the first third of the game would be good, and the last 2/3 would both be shit. At least this way you peak in the middle.
So I'm hoping that because with the films, the final trilogy seems to kind of mirror the original 3 films. They almost did like a thing where they just copied them and they reused some of the elements. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen and that the final 3 levels are actually good, because they're better to adapt as well into the game. But I think if I'd have started with the original trilogy, so 4 to 6, then I would have had a really crap middle. And then I would have had an all right finish. I'm actually grateful that I've got out the way the first 3
shitty
levels.
Part of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can just enjoy Han, Leia, Luke, flying around in the Millennium Falcon. Like everything is more fun. Every level is better. There's cooler stuff to do. You can relive some like really cool little bits, like killing the.
But don't you want to call bullshit on that though? Like, yes, okay, fine. The original trilogy is more enjoyable as films than the prequel trilogy. Fine.
Yes.
Okay? Say that if you want to. But it's not like you couldn't have made fun games out of those movies.
True. And
the problem Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, like, I know I'm not a Star Wars guy, but I think one of the defining features about like the highlights of the prequels, especially in my mind, The Phantom Menace, is that it's like great over the top, like admittedly slightly silly characters or set pieces that would be quite fun in a game, like pod racing, like Darth Maul.
Yeah.
And
action, dude. Like, you know, like say what you want about fucking the prequels, but the lightsaber stuff was fucking sick because
Yoda's flying around General
they could do
Grievous.
wire work and use some of their fucking CG for a change. Like,
but that is the problem with the adaptation. because the things that don't adapt that well, like the lightsaber fights are fine, but they're not that enjoyable. They're not as good as other Star Wars games have done lightsabers. That's not necessarily a strong point of the Lego Star Wars games.
Yeah.
So the best elements of the first 3 films are like not very good elements in the game, and then everything else, which is the best elements of the games that I've found, don't translate in the first 3 films because you're just going, and they try and hit every story beat, like I said before.
I'm still calling bullshit because I think it's lazy. Because the last time that you were here, you said that you were playing through that Tusken Raider fucking thing. And what you did is you arrived at planet, you have a cutscene, to then walk to place to have cutscene, and then that was it, okay? Whereas now, what you've told me is they could have done the exact same thing. Arrive on Tatooine, have a cutscene, walk to Millennium Falcon, have a cutscene, finish. But they didn't. Instead, they actually included some fucking gameplay. So why couldn't they have included some gameplay on the previous things? Because they're fucking lazy. Because I'm calling bullshit.
Not because it was lazy, because they had to include all the other meetings and chats with people that was going on in the original films. The first 3 films. So much of that was like going to the Senate, talking to Emperor Palpatine, like Anakin having a chat over here, Anakin having a chat over there. So much of it was just exposition because they had to backfill the story to get to episode 4. So I think the problem they had is 4, 5, and 6 as films don't tell you anything about Star Wars as a universe. They're just films about the rebellion fighting the Empire. You don't really find out anything except for Darth Vader is Luke's dad. The first 3 films, when they made that trilogy, they tried to backfill so much exposition that they make for rubbish games. And they've tried to fit in every story beat in the Lego Star Wars saga. And it doesn't work. But whereas the films that they're now drawing from for the middle 3 levels totally work as games because it's just fun. Like you don't have to worry about exposition and chat and cutscenes. You just have to deal with fighting Jabba the Hutt, fighting Boba Fett, fighting the Rancor, trying to take off on the Millennium Falcon, escaping Cloud City. It's just cool stuff. It's just cool game set pieces. And so I'm really interested now for the final 3 levels, which is the newest trilogy, obviously 7, 8, and 9, because I think it would go more in line with the original trilogy, but I have no idea because they could get it wrong because there is exposition there and there is story and there is a lot of that, and I don't know how they're going to deal with it. But there's also some cool stuff. Like I like the newest trilogy. I thought they were good. I'm not one of these people who hated it. So we'll have to see.
Well, I shall be on tenterhooks as we find out your thoughts over the course of the next 6 weeks.
No, it'll be next week. We'll be done. We'll be finished next week.
Nice.
Okay. Well, you know what, Jonesy, you used that opportunity there to kind of offer a slightly different look or a slight change in opinion on a game that you had talked about in previous weeks. I want to quickly do the same and just say that I have been playing through the final released version of Trek to Yomi after that kind of negative experience I had with the demo a couple of weeks ago, and I will actually say that I kind of want to say that my experience has been a lot more positive,
cool.
Largely because of the things that I felt like I was missing last time, which is that introductory chapter, a bit more of a tutorial, finding out the way the game goes about doling out new combos and new abilities, and how it starts to make sense and starts to feel a lot better. I think that's the most important thing after about an hour of play. So yeah, I think that I was maybe not necessarily too harsh. It was honest to what I felt about that demo, but the final version plays a lot better. And I know I shared a picture with you guys in our WhatsApp group of the GameSpot 5 out of 10 review and was like, I hate to say I told you so. Turns out I was wrong. Like, it's not a 5 out of 10. It's better than that. Although
wow, you're
still
saying IGN got it wrong?
No, GameSpot got it wrong.
A GameSpot.
Interchangeable these days.
Basically interchangeable.
Yeah, their offices are down the road from each other. It's not like a stunningly good game.
Yeah.
I think SkillUp's review of it is pretty good. Based on my first impressions after the first couple of hours. The other thing I wanted to quickly give a shout out for, because I'd forgotten almost that it entirely existed. My favorite video game name, possibly of all of 2021 last year, The Gunk, which has been sitting in my Game Pass library since I think it was December it came out. Kind of snuck out at that really awkward point in the calendar. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to play this. And it's like, it took me 3.5 hours and I finished it in 2 sittings. And it's really quite charming and not necessarily peaceful or relaxing, but also the furthest things from stressful as well. It's exactly
on Games Pass as well, right?
It's on Game Pass. Yeah. So It really is exactly what it looks like. It's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a third-person action-adventure game that, with a focus on platforming and puzzle elements. You run around as a chick with a vacuum on her arm, and you suck up the gunk. And save a planet. And it's got some kind of eco-friendly themes, and it kind of gets into Avatar-y Pocahontas-y territory a few times of we've arrived on this planet to do something and extract its natural energy, but now you're out there on the front lines, you're falling in love with all the local flora and fauna.
Right. That old chestnut.
Can we just take this opportunity then to talk about the trailer for
Absolutely. What did you think? I thought it was. I thought it looks really pretty. It's weird to have a trailer with no dialogue, and I can't get a sense of what it's about. But
I don't know, man.
I think I'm down for that.
All weird blue aliens. I just kind of embarrassed that I enjoyed the first film, if I'm honest.
Don't be.
It's weird being this side of it, because remember before Avatar came out, it was like the thing of a generation. Everyone was so excited about it. This side of it is kind of a weird position to be in, because it's, like you said, it's almost uncool to say I like Avatar. And I
don't think it should be.
I agree.
Avatar is a totally serviceable, not that great to rewatch, but totally fine film that probably just became a little bit bigger than it should have.
So this is what I wonder. I wonder if I'm in the cinema and I'm watching and I'll be like, oh yeah, this is good. Or if I'm just going to be like, this is actually just a bit cringy. I don't know. I'm not trying to be edgy or anything like that, but that's my overwhelming feeling.
I think the second option is totally possible.
Yeah. I get the same feeling now. I might have mentioned it before in the podcast. I got the same feeling now, with looking back on Game of Thrones TV show,
right?
Specifically, not necessarily the books.
It's kind of here's a question.
Maybe I got swept up in the hype of it, and looking back, it was just kind of maybe it wasn't that good. I don't know.
I'd say one thing I've found as I've gotten a bit older, I am much less cynical when it comes to movies. I can enjoy a film which I think back in my 20s I would have gone, oh my God, this is so shite. I can't believe how crap this is. I can watch it and enjoy it and be like, yeah, that was fine. I'm almost I'm turning into my dad, where it's I can watch something that's pretty crap and be like, yeah, it's all right. Nothing wrong with it. It's just,
I've got a movie to talk about that's probably going to highlight that exact sentiment.
But I wonder then if actually with Avatar you're gonna be like, oh no, it's fun. I liked it. It's a great time. And other people in their 20s going, oh, it's so shit and cringe. I can't believe idiot boomers like this crap. And then we're gonna be going, there's nothing wrong with it.
It is that weird thing though, where there will be people going to watch that movie that probably haven't seen the first one.
Maybe
right.
It's been long enough, right?
Well, because remember
you could have been born the year the first one came out and see this in the cinema just fine.
Yeah, because the thing is, when it came to home video, I think it was Philips or Panasonic. I think it was Panasonic. They had a deal that they were the only way that you could get it on Blu-ray. They had some kind of exclusivity deal.
Right.
You couldn't just buy the Blu-ray outright. You had to buy it as part of a package with fucking Panasonic 3D DVD player or some bullshit. I don't know.
Right.
And that kind of killed the home theater release, as it were.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be fascinating, and I think that James Cameron's an interesting filmmaker, and I think with mixed results, he spent a large portion of his career committed to trying to push the envelope, and it's fascinating when a project this big has been on the cards for so long and yet has taken so long. And you can go back and read articles from the mid-noughties about how he can't film or can't direct Alita Battle Angel because he has to do Avatar and the sequels. And it's we're in 2022 and we still haven't seen one yet. But just little things like the idea of they waited till they could do underwater mocap. I want to see what that looks like on the big screen. I'm still curious. I'm not expecting much from the story. Sam Worthington has not had a career since Avatar for good reason. There's a lot of negatives about that series and a lot of reasons why it hasn't aged well. But I watched that trailer and I was like, yeah, okay. If nothing else, it'll be an expensive, fascinating failure.
Yeah, sure.
Sign me up.
Oh, yeah.
But Chris, you kind of hinted there that you may have had something in your weekly catch-up that may clash with Jonesy's pitch for changing ideologies when it comes to cynicism around films.
Well, yeah.
What else have you been up to this week?
I'll jump straight into that. I watched Venom. I put in my notes here, Venom, there will be shitty movie.
Yeah.
I watched the Venom sequel.
And you loved it?
Totally, yeah. Big time.
You started a Twitter campaign to get Woody Harrelson an Oscar, I heard.
Honestly, fellas, like, I'll be honest. The first Venom film, I didn't mind it. It was fine. It was serviceable. Like, it could have been good, but it wasn't. But it wasn't necessarily... I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was mediocre. But this is a bad movie.
It was weird. I thought the first was worse. Like, I thought Venom 1 was worse than Venom 2.
No, mate, like, this film was so bad. As I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, it was directed by Andy Serkis, right? And I was thinking to myself, they know they're making a bad movie. Like, they know it.
Yes, but that's one of the things I thought was okay about it.
No, because there's two ways of making a bad movie and knowing it's a bad movie, right? Like, there's the kind of like self-aware kind of poke fun at yourself kind of thing. Whereas I think this is like, no, a serious way of making a bad fucking movie. It was so bad. Everything about it was bad. Dialogue, bad. Action, bad. CGI, bad. Everything fucking bad. The only good thing about it was its runtime because it was short.
See, I thought with the original one, they thought they were being too serious and they thought they were making like a cool Venom movie. And then when it was like, no, it was awful. And then when I saw the second one, I thought like, oh, they've realized that they made a kind of crappy Venom movie. And so they've lent into the silliness and they've lent into how kind of how wacky it is and like just Venom being a bit of a crazy character. And I liked that it seemed to be more, self-knowing. Whereas you seem to have had totally the opposite idea.
I just don't think it landed, Jonesy. Like, that idea. I just don't think it landed. I honestly, like, I don't know what Tom Hardy is doing. Like,
right.
He's gone on record of saying that, like, he only took the job because his daughter is a fan of Venom and wanted him to do it. And he was basically like saying, like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, that already is like a fucking warning sign. I just don't fucking get this movie, man. I don't get how shit like this gets made anymore.
Oh, because it makes a butt ton of money at the box office.
Yeah, I think they are doing a third. I'm pretty sure I think I read it as well that Andy Serkis is coming back to direct a third.
He shouldn't. It sticks to being Gollum.
I know the first Venom did do like ridiculous numbers in the end.
It did.
I don't recall what the second one did. Better than Morbius, I'd imagine, although that's not saying much. Like, imagine how depressing.
$500 million worldwide.
That's like, as considering it came out. What was the release date on it, Jonesy?
It was last year, wasn't it?
Because
September 21.
So it's considered, just about considered a COVID release, right? Depending, it varies from region to region, but still, like, it's released within a climate where making $500 million is probably enough. And I bet those those movies do really well on streaming and to what extent the home video market exists.
Yeah, I think that's where they kind of get their legs. But genuinely, I challenge anyone in the comments to convince me that there is anything redeemable about that movie.
I'm looking forward to reading those.
I will fight people, and I'm a biter. So
I remember when I saw it and I said it was all right. I said it was better than the first one, and I think we had comments where people were like, "What are you talking about?" And I was just like, I thought it was not as bad as the.
It's so bad. I actually could not believe it. Like, I've watched bad movies, and I've thought they're bad, but I kind of like can accept like that I'm probably wrong. Okay, case in point, Mad Max Fury Road. I fucking hated it. Everyone fucking loves it. At some point, I got to say, yeah, sure. I just don't understand how Venom is a movie that anyone could like.
I can tell you that using the Internet Movie Database as a reference, audiences prefer the first Venom, critics prefer the second Venom.
So I'm a critic.
Jonesy, sign yourselves up for Rotten Tomatoes credentials right now, buddy, because you're in the click.
Well, anyway, that was Venom. Another thing that I saw, which was good, but there is something to talk about. I finished watching Outer Range, which is something that I spoke about last week, which was Josh Brolin, modern Western, but with sci-fi elements. It's only 8 episodes on Amazon Prime. I watched it. I really liked it. Some really fucking cool cinematography and ideas. I would give a warning that the final episode, as entertaining as it was, kind of committed some cardinal sins as to what a final episode should be.
Interesting.
In terms of not answering enough, adding in too many, leading into like another season, like what ifs, or adding in questions, etc., and not necessarily resolving anything. Which is a bit of a shame, because I felt that self-contained episodes up to then were very strong.
Right.
The series as a whole is good. Like, highly recommended.
Did it ask new questions as a result of the answers to previous ones, though? Or was it just like new ones apropos of nothing? Because that's like, I know I recommended Succession again to you the other week. That's what that show does a lot of, which
Succession?
is like... not Succession, sorry. I've forgotten the complete name. Severance.
Severance, yeah.
Yeah, not Succession. But that's a show that does a lot of, we're going to answer that question, but you're going to have more questions about the answer than you thought you would.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Right. That's what Lost did. And Lost is honestly, I will defend it to the end of the earth. It's my favorite TV show. But that's what they did. They answered a few questions, added in more questions, right? Whereas this, the finale of this was answer one thing of, let's say, like literally, I think they only answered one thing.
Yeah.
Essentially, that was worth knowing, which was obvious from like episode 2 or 3. Okay. But it's more like, there's less of a reveal, more like a confirmation. But then nothing else was answered, and it was just piled on questions.
See, I can't. It's interesting you say that like Lost is your favorite TV show. Like, I hate TV shows that constantly throw in little threads to tease you about something, and then they never ever come back to it. And you're like,
yeah, Lost is guilty of some of that.
Why the hell did you do that? Like, now why did you tease that, and then nothing happened with that? Like, I just get so stressed out with TV shows like that. I'd rather it all made sense in a perfect little bow. You know, when they show you like the replay of all the things that led to the big reveal, I'd much rather that.
Like Usual Suspect style. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Here's every reference explained.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, just playing some more Elden Ring. My Elden Ring minute. I'll make it very quick. I've been mixing up my builds, fellas. Currently, you know, in the past I was rocking dual katanas with a blood loss as one of the effects, and as of my last playthrough, I'm now rocking. Although I'm switching between them, but I'm now rocking dual great hammers, which looks absolutely fucking hysterical. Yep, that's about the reaction I was expecting.
I don't know what that is. How are you?
Great hammers, love it.
How are you getting on with the game still? Then are you still like well in it? Well, no, because I'm not sure if you're messing around with the builds because you're kind of bored, but you want to keep playing it.
Okay.
Or if you're
I came across a boss type that are called Crystallians, and they're made out of crystal. And the only way you can damage them is with like blunt weapons.
Oh, okay,
right. And you were like a samurai, right? Before?
Yeah, which is like I had slash weapons, which was doing like each time I'd hit them, it would take like 0.01% off. Like, that's not working. And I kind of wish that the game had a little bit more of that, if I'm honest. It can be an annoying thing in games. I don't like it in general. But I think in such a big game like this, it's good to, especially if it's optional content, it's good to have that to force you change your build on the fly and just experiment with other things. One of the downfalls of not just Elden Ring, but like Souls games in general is you get comfortable in a build and you don't deviate. You don't experiment unless you go into like a new game plus, or if Elden Ring does have a respec function eventually. I haven't gotten there yet, but like I've got loads of weapons and I can wield a lot of them, but I don't do it because I like the swords, but there's merit to other stuff. And it's funny, like I was watching, as you do, YouTube, like fucking 5-hour breakdown critiques of blah, blah, blah. And one of the things was a little bit of a defense of Breath of the Wild and their weapon degradation system. As pants as we all thought it was, and it was implemented terribly, the idea behind it, what this guy was saying, and I kind of get it, saying by having your weapons break, you're not so precious about hoarding it that you experiment with all the different types of weapons that you do have. But I feel that like probably in Breath of the Wild, they went to the other extreme and just kind of fucked it a bit.
Yeah, because I still hoarded in Breath of the Wild. I was
totally,
I'm not going to run around with this sword because I should use this dumb stick on these goblins.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that was an unintended consequence of what they were trying to do, which means that they failed in that aspect of game design. Whereas I think in Elden Ring, they could have not that they needed weapon degradation, but like the boss was a perfect example of an obstacle, and it was a completely optional obstacle. I'll put that out there. Not needed at all to progress the story. But if you want to, if you're completionist and you want to challenge all the bosses, this was a really good way of saying, you can't do this with that. You need to try something else.
Right.
Interesting.
It was nice. I thought that was quite nice. I thought it was a nice touch. And it's forced me to try and change a few things. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm appreciating it. But yes, I'm still enjoying it immensely, Alex Jones. And I'm hoping this weekend I can get back to streaming.
Good to
hear.
Might
not be the best
Fingers
time with my
crossed.
throat, but I feel like energy levels, I'm there. I can do it.
Good stuff. Twitch.tv/Hot Panic. Make sure you're following.
And Jamie's given me a potential new emote to put on. So
yeah, true.
I might do it. I might do it, actually.
I mean, why not? I liked it.
I might do both of them. But the one that you
but...
sent me that cracked me up so much.
Oh, yeah.
Jamie did a face app thing on my picture.
I would use that emote to no end because I am a tier 1 subscriber. But Chris, you talk about parting ways with builds that you've built up some kind of connection with or that you've got very used to using, and whether or not there is life after splitting from something that seemed entwined with you, part of your DNA. And it kind of mirrors one of the biggest stories to come from the games industry this week, as EA have confirmed that they have split with FIFA. That's right, FIFA 23 is going to come out later this year, but next year, in July of 2023, EA are going to start, quote, a new era with the introduction of EA Sports FC. That is the new name for EA's theoretical continuation of their annual football series.
They've missed the fucking trick here, Jamie.
Go on. They
should have just called it FIFA, but instead of an FIFA, FIFA, and then it could have been like the logo, like EA, and then it splits open. The two F's drop in there, and it's FIFA.
FIFA.
But wouldn't that FIFA be a double E?
No, FIFA.
FIFA, but you want this?
FIFA 23.
Can we not have the same pronunciation? Can we not go FEEFA? FIFA. That's kind of how we already pronounce it. FIFA.
I
mean, going a bit Australian there, but
FIFA, mate.
They missed the trick. I mean, yeah, sure. EA Sports FC series, fine.
I mean,
EA Sports FC is a terrible name.
Sounds like the person that came up with Xbox Series X came up with the EA Sports FC series.
Yes. It is one of those names, like Jonesy, you just said, it's one of those ones where it's very hard to imagine in a couple of years' time we're just casually going, oh, EA Sports FC 26. Like, there's nothing natural sounding about it, right?
I think that, I'd imagine like casually people just call it like FC 23, FC 24.
Or EAFs. Yeah.
EAFC maybe, yeah.
Or just, maybe just FC. And I will say the logo
the joy of it now is no one calls it EA's FIFA. They just say, do you want to play FIFA? Because and everyone knows what it is. You want to play that particular football game.
That's part of the problem. It's what makes this such a significant shift, right?
Well, we did have this conversation when the rumors, the confirmed rumors that point, and now it's like confirmed reality. When they were saying that, we were almost saying like, ultimately we understood the sentiment of why they want to do it, and actually it does make sense. Like, not FIFA that is that game. You're not buying it because of the license. Right. You're just buying it because of the way that game is put together. Now, yes, it's because they've got all the sub licenses and sub brands within the FIFA umbrella, but if they can continue that, there's no reason to fucking call it FIFA. Like, it's fine. Just call it FC.
Yeah. they seem confident that a lot of this stuff is covered off. Just picking up on that point, Chris. EA Sports General Manager Cam Weber has been on record saying that everything that you love about FIFA at the moment, so modes, experiences, leagues, tournaments, clubs, athletes, will still be there. They've specifically name-dropped, obviously, things like Ultimate Team, Career Mode, Pro Clubs, that they have no reason to go anywhere. They had nothing tied to FIFA. But on the kind of the branding and the kind of the licensing side of things, they have mentioned that they have deals remaining in place with 19,000 players, 700 teams, and more than 30 leagues from around the world, as well as with UEFA, which is kind of FIFA's European contingent, which means the Champions League will still be a part of the game, although, and whether or not that's significant varies on how important you think it is. The World Cup will, of course, not, because that is specifically and solely FIFA.
Yeah. I like, with that in check, it's a no-brainer for EA. And if that's the case, I'm surprised they didn't do it sooner, quite frankly.
Is it though? Like, there is a lot in a name and brand recognition and stuff. I do think, I think it might have more of an effect than we think it will.
I don't think so. I think this is going to be a perfect example of how it doesn't matter.
I imagine they think it will have
more than the branding.
But that's the thing. I think they think it will have no effect, but I think it will have some effect.
How do you think it will have an effect?
I don't know. In the sense of like, so.
If you think a mom's going to go into a store and say, I want the new FIFA, and they'll be like, nope.
No, but that's the thing. They will be able to go into a store and get the new FIFA, but the new FIFA will just be made by someone else. Because
it's made by the same people.
No, the new FIFA. The new FIFA game is going to be branded FIFA.
Whenever FIFA settles on someone else.
Yeah, I'll quickly interject there and say yes, that FIFA have confirmed that FIFA will come back with their own games under the FIFA title, and quoted as saying, the FIFA name is the only global original title.
Yeah, but you see, they fucked it, right? Because you said it yourself. EA bringing back, what was it? Volta, Pro Clubs, Career Mode, Ultimate Team. Like, in people's minds, when you say, what is FIFA? It's not actually FIFA. It's that shit. And that shit is EAFC.
Go back to Jonesy's point. You've got like a game or a GameStop employee. If a mum comes in and asks for FIFA, like, do you have to say, hey, just so you know, in 2024, say, you don't know what you're asking for. Like, FIFA now isn't what FIFA was.
1 year of that problem taking place, and then never again.
No, but that's the thing. What I don't know, because the thing these days is so much of it is like people watching online and seeing people stream it. I think they will lose some audience, like especially younger audience who would be new players. I think they'll just, if it's serviceable, whatever game they come out with, I guess in 24 it'll be like FIFA 25. If they just drop FIFA 25, I do think they could lose some audience to FIFA 25. And it'll be like, oh, are you playing EA Sports FC or are you playing FIFA 25? I think they will lose a bit. I don't know what the percentage is. It could be 1%, it could be 0.5%.
Yeah, you're right. They probably would lose some. Whatever they'll lose is peanuts compared to the amount of money they're saving by not paying FIFA to use the name. But
they're still paying. Are they? Oh, I don't know who they're paying, but they're still paying to use the licensing. They're paying for all the licensing. So, I'd love to know what that equation is.
And also,
you're probably right, but
what are they going to do? Are they going to partner with someone who can make the football game? Or are they going to make it themselves and create a division? Who are they going to partner with? Konami?
No idea.
And eFootball? Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, they're going to go and grab someone else who can't make a football game and see if they can make one for them.
Yeah. That'd be the key thing. And I think while there are a lot of people, like easy examples to pick up on of people who are, going into the games market or buying a game and they're not particularly educated on what they're buying or why. And like, I know, like a mum buying a game for a kid is the classic example. But if FIFA do partner with someone to release a football game and that football game is not is not good, especially if it's an absolute garbage fire, which it may well be, because sports games are not easy to just make on a whim. Then I really don't think it takes that long before word spreads like wildfire that like, hey, FIFA's not made by EA anymore. FIFA's this, FIFA's bad. And it's less a question of, do you want FIFA or do you want that sports game? And if you want that sports game, if you want that football sim, then all you have to do is like align your brand recognition on 1 year and you're back in the loop indefinitely.
Yeah,
and or potentially mean indefinitely as someone who at this stage has bought every single this year's FIFA will be my 20th FIFA in a row, never missing one.
Wow, Wow. It's quite sort of, I suppose it's a bit unlucky for them that if this had happened, it's probably why it's happening now. If this had happened in 2 years' time, then they could have said, we're breaking, we're splitting up, we're separating. And then you would have known that FIFA would probably drop a World Cup. Like, this is the official game of the World Cup coming out, our first game in 2 years' time. So, which I guess would be 2026.
Yes, that'll be the next World Cup.
Because it's this year and they're not going to drop a game until 2024. There's obviously no World Cup in 2024, so that doesn't help them from that aspect either. So yeah, it could well be that 2024 rolls around, their game comes out, and everyone's like, "Give a shit." Yeah. I've been playing EA Sports FC for the last,
especially because 2024 will be the year there'll be Euros that summer, and the Euros are still UEFA, so FIFA will be fine. And so it's just more years for EA Sports FC to get under the belt. By the way, I double checked it, and the amount of money that FIFA were rumored to want for the continuing agreement they had with EA was $2.5 billion.
Wow.
Like I said, no fucking brainer.
That is a shit ton of money. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it won't make any difference at all. And unfortunately, we'll have to wait a few years to find out if it will make any difference. But hey.
Yeah.
See.
Indeed. One to keep an eye on, and as the resident FIFA guy, I'll be looking forward to letting you all know
Jamie's
how I
FIFA
feel
minute.
about it. Brace yourself, because it's returning this October, I would guess. The much revered, although this year's game will be completely irrelevant because nothing will have happened yet. Like, everything will be completely normal. Basically, what I'm saying is, if the Super Show's still going this time next year, then brace yourself for like a super jam-packed EA Sports FC minute. It's going to go mental.
I like it.
I've just realised something weird. Is Jamie the same age as FIFA? I think he might be.
Maybe. Should we fact check?
I think the first one came out in '93.
Should we fact check it? Let me double check. The first one
is weird.
It was released in 1993, so I am the same age.
Wow, Jamie and FIFA are like bonded.
That's the FIFA
it's like
games.
Going back to Star Wars, it's like the dark side and the light side of the Force rise at the same time. Jamie and FIFA rose at. You know what's going to happen to Jamie when this split actually happens? Then we don't know.
I'm going to physically split in up two, and there'll be, like, my personalities will split. I'll become like Jekyll and Hyde. One part of my personality will be a FIFA player. The other half will be an EA Sports FC player. And it will be like after night falls and the moon rises, every full moon.
You would
yeah, exactly. Change. I just physically transform.
I like it.
He'll be torn. Every show he'll be torn. He'll start talking about FIFA, and the other side will start to come out and be like, no, it's all about EA Sports FC.
No, we'll just get Andy Serkis in to direct the shittest version of Jamie doing his take on Gollum, arguing with himself. 2 camera angles, that's all you need. I'm
kind of down for that.
I'm kind of down for it.
Also, if that means we don't get another Venom film, then that also sounds like a positive. Like, the more we distract Andy Serkis at this time, the better, right?
Jamie, please try and watch it and let me, like...
I will, but I've got so much on my to-watch list right now. It's
takes
groaning.
90 minutes.
Yeah, bro, you haven't seen The Matrix yet. You watched Venom instead of The Matrix. Please don't.
Because Venom was free.
So's The Matrix. Where is it?
It's not yet. No.
Okay, I think it just came to HBO Max this week.
Yeah, trust me.
That was what it was.
As soon as it comes on
but
Sky
I meant to watch Doctor Strange so I can watch Doctor Strange, and then I was planning on watching Top Gun so I can watch Top Gun. And like, once you start getting in that frame of mind, like, the list is never ending.
Yes, much like our game life and stuff.
Yes.
Me good with language.
Yeah. In fact, guys, sometimes I feel like I've got so many TV shows and movies I want to watch that I feel like if I watched them all, it would take up all of my nights. Wow,
that is bad. Really.
And the funny thing about the English language is you don't know what word I'm saying there, because there's another word that sounds exactly the same as nights, but in fact starts with a K. And if you put the word Gotham before that, you end up with the latest game, courtesy of Warner Brothers, based on the famous DC property, where Batman isn't around, but these weird 4 kids that fly around Gotham, I presume it's Gotham, fucking shit up, still are. And we got a big gameplay showcase, let's say. Yeah, 14-minute long gameplay video, and it was the first we'd seen from Gotham Knights in a little while, so we were all very eager to see what kind of progress they'd made with the game, what it looked like in terms of the visuals, how the gameplay had improved, because, you know, that first gameplay reveal that was, God, like almost coming up on 2 years ago now, as crazy as that is to think, raised a lot of questions, and we all kind of wanted to see what the latest was. So as I said, 14-minute long narrated video. It was the game director Jeff Eleanor, bit of a weird name there, but we're not going to bully him for it because we're open-minded here. And we basically got an extended look at two characters from the game, both Nightwing and Red Hood. We saw their various abilities as they relate to both traversal to combat. We saw some of the kind of open world shenanigans you might be up to in Gotham. We saw some of the more narrative stuff, a little hints of, conversations and how you might go about selecting quests, a bit of character customization. We saw some dialogue between a few characters. We saw some action in the Belfry. We saw quite a lot in 14 minutes, but this is the point where I have to kind of put a cork in it and say that for all that we saw, and for as much as it was a significant update on one of the year's most anticipated games, I think we're already on record, as of according to Twitter, as a group, as a trio, are far from convinced by what we saw. Chris, I feel like I will have an obligation almost to go to you first, because I know you hinted to us when you were speaking to Jonesy and I earlier this week that you'd been preparing some takes, and they may well be coming out flaming hot. And I kind of don't want you to keep a lid on it any longer.
Well, okay, let's get into it. This was absolute trash.
Okay. How long have you been waiting to say that? Since you watched it.
Press record. Yeah, since I watched it. It just kind of seems like I'm baffled, if I'm honest. And it's hard because I know I'm trying not to come across as like an entitled gamer, okay? A gamer with a capital G. Because on the one hand, we say, we're sick and tired of people showing off fake representations of their games. And, when they show off alpha gameplay, it's not alpha gameplay. Whereas this felt more alpha gameplay than not, because a lot of the characters were halfway between being animated and T-posing. Pop-in was rife throughout this whole fucking thing. Shit was snapping like God knows unnaturally. And it's just like, it is early, like this would be an early build, what I would imagine an early build would be. Having said that, same time, kind of seems there's a bit of an odd choice to have showed off gameplay initially that fine, some people had some issues with it, but I thought looked, and after watching this gameplay, I went and watched the other one, looked vastly superior to what we witnessed in this recent one. And that's such a head scratcher to me, like removed 2-3 years between?
Yes.
Right.
Not just removed 2 years, but also now exclusively coming out on next-gen consoles with the previous gen version scrapped.
Right. And I think I messaged it to you guys on the WhatsApp group and saying, this is an early era PS4 title. That's what it looked like. There was nothing that was pretty about what we saw. Not the graphical fidelity, not the graphical art direction, not the combat, not the thinking of the systems in the game. Like it's just all it's Venom. Let there be Gotham Knights. That's what it is. I've clocked it.
I think I said to you guys at the time, I said, wow, this doesn't look any better than Arkham Knight. I then went back and looked at some Arkham Knight stuff, and that was unfair. It does look better than Arkham Knight, but Jamie and I were having a conversation about it before we come on here. I think the difference was between, like, if you look at Arkham Knight, it looks stylish, it looks stylistic, it looks like they've purposefully curated a look, and it was a fantastic looking game for its time. This to me looks like okay graphics, nothing special at all, and it doesn't look particularly well put together, and it doesn't look particularly stylish in a way. It just looks like they've plonked down like the objects and the textures and everything is just kind of there, and it doesn't look very good at all.
They added volumetrics, okay?
Yeah, but in the distance, they've added volumetrics to the distance to hide textures so nothing looks good. But then when the area you're in, it's like more crispy, so you can see stuff quite clearly. But then there's no atmosphere to the game.
It's just bland, man. Yeah,
it just looks.
It's just an art direction in your game, which is what I didn't understand. Because in that first thing where they were showing fucking Nightwing going up against, or whoever it was, going up against Mr. Freeze, like there was some like shit popped, and at that time I thought like, oh, that looks like it's straddling the line between like current gen and next gen, right? And now we've got confirmation, next gen title, and it looks like early PS4 era stuff. I just don't get it. I just don't understand. Why would you show this off like this?
I mean, unless you go into that old adage of like maybe that thing we saw 2 years ago just wasn't real.
It probably wasn't. Right. But like as a basis, as a kind of thing of saying like, here's an art direction where there's actual color instead of dark navy. Like,
yeah.
Was it weird? To be fair to them, whether what they showed was specifically gameplay of two of the characters, Red Hood and Nightwing, and they were just I think they were just trying to show how the characters play in the open world environment. So before we've obviously seen some more of the
but where are you going to be the most of the time of the game? In that open world?
Oh, you're going to be in that open world.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was before we got they showed a little bit more of like, you're going to be fighting Mr. Freeze, and it's kind of like more of a mission-based thing, and you can maybe do more to put the game in its best light. And so if I'm going to be as kind to them as I can possibly be, I will say maybe they just showed us a really boring section of the game to just trying to go, this is what it actually looks like when you're going to be playing. The problem, and so all of the other elements, the story, the voice acting, like the mission structures, everything could all be fine. But what they showed here did not look great. It looked like so I was trying to think about how it looked to me, and it looked like Outriders crossed with Marvel's Avengers crossed with a bit of like The Division, which is all not good. It just looked like they smashed a whole bunch of stuff together.
Taking the worst bits of all those games and
the worst parts of all those games. The worst parts of all those games.
You see, for me, it looked like Spider-Man, but shit.
Right.
Right.
And also, one of the issues with this is, of course, it comes from, is it WB Montreal? Is that where it comes from?
I believe so, yeah.
So, which is the studio that made Arkham Origins, which really stood out as the worst entry in the Arkham series. And this isn't in the Arkham series. I'm not saying, it's in obviously in that universe. It's set in Gotham, and it doesn't follow on from the story of Arkham Knight. But yeah, I feel like they had to come really strong, and they kind of didn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you've been rather quiet, Jamie, and considering you were the first person to watch the trailer and message us and say, I feel bad for saying it's not looking good.
I always wanted to sanity check because I hadn't spoken to anyone else about it at the time. But yeah, a lot of my thoughts just kind of echo what you guys have been saying, which is that, 14 minutes and a varied 14 minutes as well in terms of like the showing off the various elements of the game. You'd think there would be something to kind of like latch onto, something that could get its hooks into you, but nothing popped for me at all. And I remember over the course of various messages I sent to you guys, I completely feel the exact same way about you two when it comes to the visuals, and specifically pick up on that idea that Jonesy was talking about atmosphere. And I thought that one of the things that worked for Arkham Knight so well 7 years ago, as crazy as that is to think, was that atmosphere, and that interpretation of Gotham had so much character and so much detail, and even just things of like that persistent sort of dark gothic, like almost overbearingly like noirish setting, and the fact that it just never fucking stopped raining. It was gave that world so much more personality, and there were elements of this that, in terms of the lighting,
Jamie,
and the presentation,
in this one, it never stops fogging.
Well, yeah, and that results in looking flat, and it's kind of like that for me goes to what you were saying, Chris, about kind of that feeling of like a previous generation game. I think we associate that with that kind of that flat, static kind of lighting, which doesn't do any of the character models any favors, and none of the environments any favors.
Don't you think it's kind of interesting or weird, maybe, that we're saying it looks very last gen, but one of the games that it reminded me of, I'm talking like combat specifically. Spider-Man on PS4, like miles ahead.
Yeah, like I think the thing is, whether you're looking at Spider-Man or again,
even the old like Arkham games,
which are those comparisons are inescapable, right? Is that like the combat, and I think it was nailed and kind of created by the Arkham games, or at least popularized by the Arkham games. But Spider-Man does a very respectable job of doing their variation on it. It's like the two of the things it does really well are flow and impact. Like, one is you feel like everything's moving together, and there is this really kind of like almost orchestrated setting to the order
and that
of
you're
movements.
Doing it, and not that there's a system snapping
even if you're pressing one button, there's this flow to it, like it's choreographed somehow. And then impact, because when Batman fucking elbows someone and they get knocked out, like it feels like you're elbowing someone. And this didn't have any of it. And this had a lot of, to go to another reference Jonesy made, had a lot of what the Avengers had in its version of that style of combat, which is that our animation game is not on point. There are so many places in which our things don't line up that characters have to like slide along the ground or like do weird kind of like jerky movements to be in the right place to land a certain combo. And the amount of times, like one of the things I couldn't understand is the first time you see Nightwing properly engage in some combat, he uses his really goofy looking flying device to land on a nearby roof and engages two enemies who are about 15 feet apart, which means he has to do this weird prance between them each time. And that is something that Batman does do in the Arkham series. He does, like, you can press A and do this weird roll, or if you press X and the nearest, or you press square, whichever controller you're on, and the nearest person to him is not that close, Batman will do this kind of like weirdly elaborate long-range strike and close the distance to get there. But like, why would you ping-pong back and forth between two enemies that are 15 feet apart away if your animation set looked like that?
And why would you show it off in your showcase?
Yeah, exactly.
Beat up one and then go and beat up the other one.
Then Red Hood comes into it. Red Hood, who's got the non-lethal bullets, but also kicks people off of skyscrapers. Great, nice.
Then for me, it was him. His way of traversing the open world from rooftop to rooftop is by double jumping consistently.
Yes.
And forever. So if you want to go from one skyscraper to the other skyscraper on the other side of the map, you're just going to be doing this like really tedious time.
Spirit leap.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like...
He's also got the Iron Man from Avengers thing of like, how do you do Arkham style melee combat with a character who has firearms, which is like, well, basically every time you press square, they take up some kind of gun carter style position, fire. You press square again, they do another gun carter position, fire. And so he's just kind of like, it's like he's doing, you know, when you first learn karate and you do this, you step forward with a different strike each time. He's doing that, but with pistols, firing non-lethal rounds. And then he's got some dumb move, which we've all seen before. Literally, I just played Horizon, which has the exact same thing, where you like basically latch an explosive device onto someone and then you shoot it, and that's how they end the demo. And the guy fucks it up and doesn't get the, go and rewatch the end of the demo, and the guy fucks up the big finish of the combat when Red Hood's meant to shoot the bomb a second time. He does it once on the roof. He does it again on like the Court of Owls dude who is apparently 8 foot tall. Like, apparently they've got their own version of Bane, and he's like I don't know. There's a lot wrong with this.
Okay, so that specific point in the trailer towards the end of it, where he was fighting that big super soldier that was like all bulked up and whatever, that reminded me of God of War combat, God of War 2018 combat, with the like those lethal hits with the little indicator that you had to like dodge, and you kind of going at it. Like, do you remember in God of War you fight those travelers? There's like wandering travelers with the big swords.
I don't
Not
remember.
really. You don't remember it?
Oh.
All right. Anyway, it reminded me of that. And again, it's like you're making it, in my mind, you're drawing quite an obvious parallel, that kind of game. That game fucking nailed the combat. And I'm just looking at all of this and like, nothing is sticking, nothing's cohesive, nothing looks good. And it looks like you've taken 5 steps backwards from where it was before. To the point, fellas, that when they showed the initial thing, even though people had their misgivings, and I did too, but I was excited by it because I was like, there's something to latch onto here, as you said, Jamie. There's something to latch onto that you can get excited about. And there was none of it here. Absolutely none of it. Except for the Belfry, because hey,
everyone loves
we love a Belfry
here
at SuperShow. So
I don't know if you guys got this, but actually no, I think I might have seen someone mention this on our Discord as well, and I absolutely was like, yeah, I totally get what they mean. Some of the combat with Red Hood with the pistols reminded me of the combat from Guardians of the Galaxy, in the way that Peter Quill like shoots because he's got guns, and he's often against characters that don't. They basically have zero impact. So you've got a character doing like shooting at people, and he must be using the guns that the bad guys are using in the film The Batman, because they're not affecting any of the enemies like at all. And one of the things that I get really annoyed about, and Jamie mentioned this, was like impact, like combat that has no impact, where you just look like you're doing your thing, the enemies are not responding to you, and it just doesn't look fun. And I think that was the main thing. And the difference with Guardians of the Galaxy was the combat wasn't particularly strong in that game and could feel a bit like bullet spongy enemies and things. Everything else in that game I thought was so strong, like the voice acting, the story, everything. It kind of made up for it. And that game was so bombastic in a lot of the stuff that it did. Like when you called your team in to kind of do a huddle and then you would have some stupid like pep talk and everyone would go and fight again. You got around the fact that the combat wasn't very good. But in a game like this, if the combat isn't very good, it's a combat game. Like what exactly are you going to be doing apart from that?
Also, probably you could say there's an expectation, even though it's not a continuation of Arkham, as we've said, but like it's a Batman game developed by Warner Brothers. There's an expectation as to what you're getting. Whereas, let's say with Guardians of the Galaxy, like, I don't know what this is. It could be anything. So you kind of like give it benefit of the doubt. But coming into this, you may be a little bit more critical.
Yeah,
I've got a question for you, fellas. You know, when he went to infiltrate the Court of Owls HQ, whatever it was, and he put on his detective vision, or I think they called it AR vision, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Did that not seem like really fucking archaic to you?
Oh yeah, it's the same thing we've seen a million times before, like basically like thermally X-ray kind of vision of a building, trace a wire, and then like
so the thing for me is like that's fine to have. Like I understand the need for it, at detective vision or whatever it was in multiple games that have had it, but it just kind of feel like they haven't iterated on it enough, and they haven't moved the goalposts with that kind of thing at all. And that's kind of emblematic of the whole game to me, or at least that the showcase was that nothing is forward looking at all. It's not innovating on anything.
Yeah, you'd expect them to have moved a certain distance from Arkham Knight, not just redoing the same stuff that game did.
And and the thing is, like, there was a point in time where if you told me that about this game, I'd have said, fine. Like, this is a WB Montreal game because Rocksteady have moved on and they've got that license and they've got that combat system and they've got a version of Gotham and there's a version of Gotham Knights that should have come out in like fucking 2018 on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro, and everything would have been fine.
Yeah.
And yet we're still here 7 years on from Arkham Knight. We haven't had a single game in that kind of expanded or extended universe. Rocksteady, in their own way, have been taking their sweet time. And you just kind of get left thinking, like, the goalposts have moved in that time, and you have to be aware that you have to move with them, such as the nature of game development. And the worrying sign here is that I worry that they haven't. And there could still be fun to be had, obviously. That combat could feel very different. And for as much as, like, you look at the references we're making here, whether it's Marvel's Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever, like, I had fun with those games in their own unique way. We've got two characters we're yet to see in Robin and Batgirl that maybe they get their own stream at some point.
And of course, this game could live or die on co-op.
Exactly, and like maybe it's fun with a friend, which we didn't get to do in, say, Guardians of the Galaxy, although it didn't do Marvel's Avengers any favors. Yeah, like there's escape routes for a game like this to kind of find the fun in the next 6 months. Or maybe it just hasn't shown us the fun yet, but yeah, pretty rough.
But then why have a 14-minute showcase? You don't have fun to show. Surely that's all you do.
I think there could be a saving grace with this in the sense of, like I said, Guardians of the Galaxy. The thing that made that for me was the characters, the story, and all of that. And I had a lot of fun with that. It was far from perfect. I think a few people have said, I think we've said before as well, it's a game that would really benefit from a sequel because you could build on the initial outing. This, and Jamie and I were chatting about this just before the pod. This is a game that is actually an offline, you can play it as an offline single-player story open world RPG game, in which case there could be so much to be had in the story and in the characters and, you know, in the enemies that you fight and in utilizing the DC universe because it's a completely original story, etc., 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 that it could be that it lives on that and it's actually brilliant. And the combat isn't the best part. And some of the stuff we've seen is like kind of like, oh, it would have been better if they'd have made this section of the game better. But that is still a massive if.
Yeah.
So
it is
and like you said, we need to see more of that side of it because it's not really getting me that excited from what we've seen of this stuff.
Yeah. Like by all means, show me the gear upgrades that, you know, exist in every single fucking game with a gear score, this, that, the other. Like, yeah, okay, fine. show me the fucking back computer where you go and you choose. Yeah, fine. But don't show that to me in the showcase where you showing off your release version of a game. Like, compare it to a previous Warner Brothers showcase in Hogwarts Legacy.
Arguably, the Legacy showcase was so much better at showing you the world, like what you can expect from the entirety of the game. It did
you know what I got
job
shown with this, Jonesy? Combat that is slow and boring and ineffectual. A boring user interface that has no thought put into it, clearly, and the world's slowest motorcycle chase. Like, I didn't understand why it was so slow.
Sorry, Chris, it's actually a bat cycle, please.
Sorry, bat cycle. Maybe that's why I was so fucking slow. Honestly, it felt like I could have walked. Like, it's like one of those like comedy films where these guys are racing and then they look on the pavement and there's just like a granny walking at the same pace that they're going. I don't understand why it felt like it was going so slowly.
There was another thing one thing that bugged me about that as well, that entire little chase, was then the section where he jumps off the bat cycle and then he has a fight with the guy, kicks him out of the thing and then flips the van over. I'm like, that is just lifted completely out of Spider-Man. Like, that's that when he chased down the car when the bad guys were doing it, and he would like dodge one side, dodge the other, flip the car over. But going back to your point about traversal, there's a couple of little things that worried me, and I'm going to drop my conspiracy theory here because Jamie was telling me all the reasons I was wrong, and he's right. But I'm going to drop it anyway.
It's just a dumb conspiracy theory. It's like a conspiracy theory that shouldn't even exist.
So it's a Jonesy theory.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely. But I'm getting so
it's based on nothing. It exists in his head.
Put your tinfoil hat on for a second.
You don't need to. I'm telling you.
Because some of the stuff in this gameplay thing, and also weirdly things like the traversal, like we've said about the weird traversal systems that don't look fun. They just kind of look odd. Like, they look like weird ways to get you around the city too quickly, frankly, which is always strange in an open world game because usually they're trying to limit the way you can traverse. They're not trying to give you like, oh, here's a jet hang glider that can get you anywhere you want to go. I think after you've done the campaign, right, I wouldn't be surprised if there were elements of microtransactions. It's not a permanently live game, right? It's not, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were elements of that, like always live kind of thing, started coming into it. There was money coming into it, and there was like, oh, and it felt more like Marvel's Avengers down the line, not on release.
But in what
way?
So
basically, what you've just heard, Chris,
there's a few warning signs.
Because the combat and the jumping looks like Marvel's Avengers, Jonesy thinks Gotham Knights is a secret games as a service title that won't be revealed as such until after its release.
Potentially.
I mean, look at what they did with Shadow of War?
Right.
Some of the stuff there, like
that was Warner Brothers, wasn't it?
Get a bit aggressive with the microtransactions.
And they've said there are no microtransactions, and they've said it's not as a games as a service. So let me just say I'm making this all up. So nobody hear me say that and think that's what it is. And Jamie's already chewed me out for it.
Yeah, I apologize. Jonesy and I talked about this for probably maybe half an hour straight, just back and forth. Like, at one point, I was fact checking the original press release when The Division was announced in June of 2013. That's how stupid the conversation got. On my part as well. That's not me.
Can I give you guys
that is my conspiracy theory.
Definitely a Jonesy theory. Can I give you guys no damning statement than this? Okay, a reply to one of my tweets from DC for Life, good old Bill Caesar, friend of the channel, replying, calling it lackluster. I call him lackluster. Calling it lackluster is very generous. Let's just call it what it is. Crap. So crap, in fact, that it could be used as evidence in the Depp Heard trial.
Wow.
And he has DC for Life in his name.
I can completely appreciate that, because I can imagine as a DC fan looking on that and with all the hope that you must have for like what this could be, and just being like, oh, they've probably fucked me over.
I've had people go even further and saying that they think that Suicide Squad is going to be bad off of the viewing of this game, which is mental. But like that's how bad this showing was, that is pervading the other DC title that's being made by Warner Brothers.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Time will tell, I guess.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
Well, that was Gotham Knights. I guess, fucking hell. Do you know what's going to be interesting? Because we've now got to prepare ourselves. It's mid-May. We're about to obviously roll into a summer that is not going to be jam-packed with, crazy reveals and things like that. But there will be plenty of first looks and gameplay reveals and gameplay deep dives of games to come. So we'll see how many hot takes there are to follow. I will say, boys, that is it in terms of big, chunky news stories. But can I try a little experiment on you both? You see, because I don't know if the folks at home kind of pick up on this when they, get a sense of what we do and don't talk about as we go. But there are lots of different things that happen throughout the games industry and pieces of news that break throughout the week that we can't really talk about because they're just kind of like, you make the statement and it's done. It's not like Gotham Knights.
One shots. Maybe we should have a segment called like one shots.
Well, I put a segment on our document that we have called other #fun tidbits, and I thought the way I'd keep this fresh and also not let this podcast run on too long is embrace yourself for this because this is extreme. I'm going to alternate between the two of you, and you will have maximum one word to respond to each headline with. So literally, you can't go over a word. So, Jonesy, if I were to start with you, I would say Babylon's Fall has dropped to just one concurrent player on PC, and you would say
Steph.
Yes, exactly.
What,
it is,
Steph?
of course. Yeah, it's Steph Murphy.
Steph Murphy's the only one playing Babylon's Fall. Yeah, I can believe
Although I will say we did get a great comment. I think you got a great comment, Chris, on Twitter from Grim, saying it's the one YouTuber who's making a video about the death of Babylon.
Yeah,
which I
was that Grim or was that Hooded Dude?
I can't remember.
I'll find out now. But yeah, shout out to that comment because that was the best take.
That was literally the perfect take.
Let me see. Hold on. I'll tell you who it was. You carry on and I'll
yeah, in the meantime, Jonesy,
I'd like to give them the shout out they need.
I'll go back to you because EA did their sort of their annual earnings call this week, which included a forecast as to what they've got going on in Q4 of their fiscal year, which runs up until sort of March-ish 2023. So we've got a few bits and pieces out of that. First of all, Dead Space, the remake, has an official release date, January 27th, 2023.
Woohoo.
Tasty.
The other thing I'll say, and this wasn't part of their earnings
I believe it was Hood, by the way.
Nice. Either way, like an OG goated comment. Chris, over to you. One thing that wasn't part of the EA's earnings call, but as of this afternoon, I can confirm, courtesy of insider Jeff Grubb, we'll see if he's wrong, but he's usually right on this kind of stuff. The sequel to Jedi Fallen Order is probably going to be called Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Okay.
I feel like that didn't give you an erection. That's disappointing.
It's just a bit weird because it sounds like that reality TV show Survivor.
Which I'm a big fan of. Say Destiny's Child song.
Oh, right, yeah.
Originally it was going to be called Star Wars Jedi I'm a Survivor.
The thing with Jeff Grubb is, like, unless it's corroborated by other people, I kind of sometimes, I'm 50-50 whether I believe him being serious or just making a joke.
He does make a lot of jokes. This one didn't seem like one. He has a weekly show, and this time last week he went on and was like, he said he knows what it's called, but he does this thing where he will only acknowledge it if someone guesses it correctly. Yeah, and it happened this week. Someone guessed it, and he said, "Yeah, someone's got it. It's this."
But I mean, okay, fucking name.
Well, one that might be a bit more up your street, Chris, is that publisher 505 Games has announced they're going to have their first ever digital product showcase. And it's actually like next week or something. It's soon. The reason that's of interest is because Remedy Entertainment announced last June that it was teaming up with 505 to make 2 new Control games. So could we be about to get our first look at the future of the Control series?
Do you want a one-word answer? Boing.
Yeah.
Not a word, just a noise.
I don't believe it to be true, though. I like if they announced it last year. I don't necessarily see something.
The only thing that potentially going for it is that they announced 2 Control games, and my understanding was one of them was like a smaller, I think, co-op experience, and the other was a bigger, like big budget sequel.
Right.
If one of them really was like a AA Control game, like a spin-off Control game, that could be ready, and that would be the kind of thing, like what would make a publisher like 505 go, we need to do our first ever showcase? A Control sequel could be one of those things.
a sequel to Control and Alan Wake.
It's just going to be Death Stranding Director's
Controlled
Cuts
Wake.
2.
That, I mean, probably. I will also say there was an Alan Wake stream today, and they confirmed no Alan Wake 2 info all summer.
Oh,
yeah, but Alan Wake coming to the Switch. Whee!
Yes, Alan Wake coming to the Switch.
That's pretty cool.
Two quick ones. Jonesy, Nintendo had their shittest ever Indie World showcase. There were 20 games, and none of them are worth talking about.
Didn't watch it.
Yeah, good. Don't. And Chris, we touched on it earlier, but let's get confirmation. Elden Ring shipped 13.4 million units.
You know what, Jamie? I'm not going to give you away. I'm just going to give you an emote. Chef's kiss.
Very nice.
Fucking amazing.
Can I have it?
Like, well deserved, quite frankly.
Oversold.
Wow. Hot takes from Jonesy to wrap up the show.
Jonesy, you know what? I will give that to you when you play the game, okay?
All right.
Play the game and then tell me it was oversold. I think that's a fucking fantastic milestone. Like, really, really impressive.
That is a lot of units.
That's a lot of units. I think there's our fucking code word.
That's a lot of units. Get that code word down in the comment down below. You know what else is a great milestone?
End of a podcast?
Not just the end of a podcast, Chris, the end of a 122nd episode of a podcast, which is exactly what we've arrived at now. So thank you all so much for watching and or listening. Remember, you can reach out to us on YouTube or Twitter at SuperShow Pod. You can support us at patreon.com/SuperShow. You can engage with us in whichever way you see fit. Either way, we're going to be back here, same place, same time next week for more hot gaming news and arguments and tinfoil hat conspiracies and comments about Elon Musk, whether you like it or not. Hopefully, we'll see you there. Bye.
Bye.